It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau Agent, located downtown Midland. Well, an interesting series over the weekend for the Tigers. Low-scoring affair against probably their biggest rival to this point, the Cleveland Guardians. And nonetheless, it was a satisfying series for Detroit to get the better of Cleveland, who has really had their number, not only this season, but obviously last year in the playoffs, been one of the 2 teams on the year to win 3 straight games against Detroit. But man, you take a look at this division, it is crazy to think that the Tigers basically already have locked up the American League Central. Tigers 20-plus games over 500 have no one even close to them in second place in the division. This was a division that sent 3 teams to the playoffs a year ago. A month into the season, they had 4 teams above 500, and coming into the year, the odds for those 4 teams of the Tigers, Guardians, Twins, and Royals to win the division were all pretty tight. There was not a clear favorite. And the Tigers have just knocked that narrative completely out of the window. This series was satisfying just for Detroit to get Cleveland's number, but at the end of the day, it really didn't have the same juice on it as the last couple matchups with the Guardians have had, just because felt like so much more was on the line. Both teams fighting for the playoffs, fighting in the playoffs. But now the Tigers are just too good. It'd be virtually impossible for them to lose the American League Central at this point. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau Agent, located downtown Midland.
Something happens when we can't be our true selves. You can hear it in our laughs. There's the half-hearted chuckle. The courtesy conference caller.
Yeah, great.
And of course, the I'm only laughing because I'm dating your daughter.
Oh, that's so true.
If you want to laugh for real, try having some Miller Lite with some friends. It works. It's Miller time. Celebrate responsibly. 2021 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin beer.
Scrolling? Make it count. Want local sports content that actually matters?
Yeah.
100.9 The Mitt is loaded with local highlights, viral plays, breaking sports news, and takes you can't get enough of.
It's hot!
Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube today. And you'll never be out of the loop on the Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings, Michigan State, and even the biggest stories in high school sports in the Great Lakes Bay region. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Michigan, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland. Michigan sports aren't just a game, they're a way of life. And now we've got a show dedicated to die-hard sports fans like you. Hosted by a guy who's borderline obsessed with the wins and losses of all your favorite teams.
He's crazy.
Every weekday morning from 9 to noon, Ben Bosscher brings you the talk that matters. The teams, the stories, and the players you care about most. This is the Ben Bosscher Show. Appointment radio across the state.
Remember that. Hello, and welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show. Happy Monday to the Great Lakes Bay region. Happy Monday to everyone watching on YouTube as well. Yeah! Hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. 4th of July feels like forever ago at this point, man. We're coming off 4th of July weekend, but I don't know why. It feels like that was so long ago at this point. Anyway, welcome in. This is going to be a fantastic show plan because the Detroit Tigers, your Detroit Tigers, my Detroit Tigers, why not? Coming off a 3-game sweep over the arch nemesis, the enemy, public enemy number 1, the Cleveland Guardians. The team that, if you've been listening to this show or listening to this station for long enough, you know this is the team we can't we can't stand. We despise down there in Cleveland, Ohio. This is the team that's always had the Tigers' number. One of the rare teams that's had the Tigers' number over a year and a half. Not this weekend. Clean sweep, capped off by an epic win yesterday with Tarek Skubal on the mound. We'll get into that here in just a second. As for the Detroit Lions, ladies and gents, so with great honor and responsibility, I tell you, we are 1 week away from everyone showing up to training camp. We are 1 week away from Detroit Lions football coming back in Allen Park. I cannot wait. So here's what we've got with that planned out. Who's got the most to gain? Who's got the most to lose in training camp, and a couple other positional battles that I'm going to be looking forward to starting next week. But let's kick things off. Oh, by the way, Monday morning stock exchange around the league. The other two traditions we have to close the show every Monday. You know the deal. But let's start with the Tigers game yesterday. It kind of felt like a 2024 Tigers win. And what I mean by that is, whereas this year they've been one of the better offenses in baseball. They've had one of the best ERAs in baseball as a team. Yesterday, they couldn't score a run. They couldn't get base runners on. And it felt like they were going to have to pull something out of their butts. For a long time, it felt like the Tigers were potentially going to have the worst loss of the year. Tarek Skubal, dominant. Once again, 10 strikeouts, 0 walks. Here's a fun fact. Tarek Skubal has more starts than he does walks this entire season. He's been dominant. Dominant to the point where his strikeouts to walk ratio, 10.5, is the third highest in the history of Major League Baseball, only behind Phil Hughes of 2014 and Brett Sabenhagen, 1994. Other than that, Tarek Skubal, ladies and gentlemen, he's doing stuff we've never seen any Tigers pitcher do. Again, he won't have the bulk numbers that Justin Verlander and Max Scherzer did, but his stuff per 9, it's on par with or better than anything we've ever seen. He's dominant, but it looks like the Tigers for the longest time aren't going to be able to score a run, give him enough support, and win the game. Top of the 9th inning, it is 1-0. Back against the wall. And what do the Tigers do? They find a way. Spencer Torkelson, hit by pitch. Zach McKinstry, pinch runs. Zach McKinstry, steals second, initially called out. They challenge it, overturn it. Zach McKinstry eventually scores via a pass ball that goes between Bo Naylor's legs. And just like that, the game is tied. They go to the bottom of the 9th. Zach McKinstry is suddenly playing first base, another position that he hasn't played. Utility man of all utility mans. And the Tigers go to extra innings. Trey Sweeney, who's been recently sent down and recalled back up due to some injuries, hits a bomb. Riley Green hits a bomb. All-star stuff. The Tigers put up 6 runs in the 10th inning, and just like that, take care of Cleveland. They can't get in the win column. What's that? 10 straight losses for them. This was a dominant weekend from the Detroit Tigers. And Kyle, yesterday felt like they still had a little bit of magic. It felt like a 2024 gritty Tigers win when we couldn't figure out how. It didn't make sense how they were winning. That's what it felt like yesterday. They still got a little bit of juice left in that cup.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from the guys that you didn't expect, which that's exactly how they were winning in 2024. The way they scored that run to send it to extra innings, it felt like, they got the better of Cleveland in the first 2 games, but you go 7 scoreless from Skubal, you can't put up a run, probably going to lose this one. It felt like they were going to. And then obviously they get that run in the 9th. Trey Sweeney hitting the bomb off of Cade Smith, who hasn't given up a home run all season. Mm-hmm. It just, like you said, it really felt like that how did they just win that game type of win against the team that has had their number, not just even last year, this year, right? Beating them in 3 of 4 earlier this season. Mm-hmm. So most satisfying series win of the year for Detroit for sure.
And this is now 3 straight games. I mean, what's been our number one talking point for the past 5 weeks since this show is launched? It's been this bullpen has not been up to standard. And the guy that this bullpen was kind of built on for the most part last year was Tyler Holton. Tyler Holton now has, what would this be? 5 straight starts, including one this weekend, not starts, but 5 straight appearances where he has not allowed a run, including 2 2/3 innings this weekend against Cleveland, where he was kind of reminiscent of himself from last season. 4 strikeouts against Cleveland, 0 walks. Like I said, 2 2/3 inning, only gave up 1 hit. That is the complete opposite from what we were used to for the most part this season and in the midst of the summer. Both of his last two appearances, one against Washington and one against Cleveland, have been beyond what we've expected from him because, let's just be honest, what we've started to expect from him was basically nothing. You got nervous every time he went out there. Well, if the Tigers actually have some life from the bullpen, and they also have some life from a different starter, not named Tarik Skubal, that we're going to get into in a second, who we saw this weekend, all of a sudden, I'm looking around and boxes are starting to be checked, right? Do the Tigers have an ace? Check. Not only do they have an ace, they have the best pitcher in baseball, probably the best season we're seeing, maybe the last decade. I don't know. Do they have an all-star bat? Check. Riley Green has firmly inserted himself into the conversation for one of the best hitters, not only in the American League, but across Major League Baseball. Do they have... Can they win in multiple ways? Yes, we saw that this weekend. They can win in a pitcher's duel. They can win in a high-scoring game. Can this offense explode for runs? All check marks because, well, let's look at the numbers here. Tigers first in run differential in the AL at plus 106. And in terms of runs scored, a whopping 456. That would be second in the American League. Does this team have power? Check. 116 home runs. That's fourth. Do they walk? Check. 296 walks. That's seventh in the American League. This team is doing everything that you ask them to do, everything that you'd want in a World Series team. They check the boxes. And if this bullpen can kind of start to come around a little bit, obviously you trust Vest. Canley's been shaky, but if you can start to get some stuff back from Holton and add another arm at the deadline, as we've been talking about, all of a sudden you become even more bulletproof. Now the question becomes, to me, do they have enough with the starting rotation? Like I said, Tarik Skubal checks the boxes for an ace. Do they have that number 2 pitcher, though? Do they have the guy that you feel comfortable with a 1-0 lead in a series in the postseason? You go out there and you have nothing but confidence for the guy. Well, if you just look at where guys were drafted, you ideally and theoretically have had that person all along, and his name is Casey Mize. This weekend on Saturday, Casey Mize, I'd argue, had his best outing of the season. And he's had some really good ones. He had a couple shaky ones when he came back from an injury. Obviously, we wanted the strikeouts to be a little bit up this year, just the swing and miss in general. That was kind of the goal heading into the year because that's where he had struggled for the most part in his career. Well, maybe he's not the strikeout pitcher that Tarik Skubal is, but that is not a fair expectation or comparison when you're comparing really anybody. But Casey Mize, obviously, 1.01 pick, goes 7 innings this weekend. Only 4 Ks, only walks 2, though. He now has 9 wins on the season. That's only 1 behind Tarik Skubal. That's one of the tops in the American League. This guy has positioned himself in a scenario where now I believe he is the number 2 pitcher on this team. It is not Jack Flaherty. It is not Reese Olson. Casey Mize is now living up to the 1.01 draft pick. And I know we've compared him and Torkelson, both being drafted 1.01 and kind of revitalizing their careers here. Javi Baez, another person that has revitalized his career here with the Detroit Tigers. And I think all 3 of those guys, it speaks on the development of this organization, not just in the minor leagues, and we're going to get to some of the minor league stuff later on in the show, but it speaks to how the coaching and development, how they will never give up on these guys and absolutely milk every last bit out of them to where they feel like they can get the best out of anyone across Major League Baseball, whether they're picking them up on the waivers, whether they were drafted 1.01. They do not give up on their talent, and their coaching staff and pitching staff or hitting coaches, they find a way to get the best out of these guys. And Casey Mize has been a prime example of that this season. We say it was shocking that Javier Baez is an all-star starter in center field. I still don't really believe it sometimes, especially considering he doesn't really play center field anymore. But arguably what's more shocking than any of that is Casey Mize now, to me, surpassing Jack Flaherty, surpassing Reese Olson as the firm number 2 guy in a playoff rotation. I know Flaherty's still technically the number 2 guy because he's always going to be going after after Scooble days. But Mize, to me, has jumped him and jumped Olsen in terms of trust. In terms of just trust. Who is going to go out there and give you consistent innings and not spiral out of control? Right now, I feel like Casey Mize is the answer to that. 989-837-6125. Do you believe Casey Mize has established himself as the number 2 pitcher on this team? 989-837-6125. We've got that and a whole lot more coming up. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on a Monday. By the way, Tigers now World Series favorites, if you believe that. 989-837-6125. Hey, if you're driving around right now in the Great Lakes Bay region, give your car the glow up it deserves at Tommy's Express Car Wash. Fast, friendly, and freakishly good at cleaning. Roll in dirty, roll out sparkling. It is, in fact, that easy. High-tech wash tunnels, eco-friendly soaps, and a ride that looks showroom fresh in just a few minutes. Sign up for their Unlimited Club and wash as often as you want because clean cars just drive better. Everybody knows that. No appointments, no nonsense, just clean, quick, and kind of addictive. Tommy's Express Car Wash because your car called and it's begging for this. Locations in Midland, Saginaw, and Flint.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
At Tommy's Express, you can get your car clean, shiny and dry in just minutes. Our state-of-the-art eco-friendly wash delivers a spotless finish every time. With the Tommy Club app, enjoy unlimited washes or paper wash. Skip the line with license plate recognition and manage everything right from your phone. Fast, clean, and simple. Visit Tommy's Express today and see the difference. Text Clean Car to 86697 for a free works wash.
Offer valid for new guests only. By participating, you consent to receive promotional information text from Tommy's Express. Message and data rates may apply. Message frequency varies.
At the Great Lakes Loons, our commitment to community goes beyond the ballpark. Through the Vol Loon Tier program, Loon staff and even players roll up their sleeves to serve the Great Lakes Bay region. From packing food boxes to reading in classrooms and even cleaning up local camps and parks, it's hands-on work that helps build a stronger, more connected community. Volunteer isn't just what we do, it's who we are. Because being part of this region means showing up when it counts. The Great Lakes Loons, serving the Great Lakes Bay region since 2007.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt. You want sports takes? You want local voices that own the mic?
Yeah.
We've got them. On Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. It kicks off at 6 a.m. with Anthony Bellino on Spin on Sports.
Rise and shine.
From 9 to noon, don't miss Michigan's newest sports show, The Ben Bosscher Show.
Hey, remember that.
At noon, you get America's smartest sports takes, The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
I want Shador to play.
And at 3, the one and only Bill Simonson and The Huge Show. This is where real fans stay locked in. 100.9 The Mitt.
High school sports don't just happen. There's a ton of work that goes into every single athletic event.
And we have our school's athletic director to thank for a lot of it. Thank you.
For scheduling officials, so I can always play the game I love.
For ordering quality athletic equipment, so I can stay safe on the field.
For mentoring my coaches, so they can be the best role models for me.
For coordinating transportation, so I can get focused for the big game.
For helping us develop character and learn lessons that will benefit us for the rest of our lives.
Thank you to our AD for always creating a positive experience for us. We'll never forget it.
From all of us at the NIAAA, thank you to every athletic administrator in Michigan for all you do to enrich the lives of your students. It does not go unnoticed. This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Casey Mize, is he the number 2 pitcher on this team? Are you ready to call him pitcher number 2 in this rotation ahead of Flaherty, ahead of Olsen this weekend on Saturday? Kyle, you and I were watching it right here at Dow Diamond during the Loons game, and he got through 6 innings, and we kind of just expected, they're going to take him out of the game here. Well, the 7th inning starts, He rolls out there, finishes the 7th inning, goes over 100 pitches. I think that was by far the best outing of his career. Maybe not his career, but certainly this season. And I mean, if it's the best start of this season, it probably was the best start of his career. The strikeouts weren't super high. The swing and miss wasn't super high, but just got in and out of every inning, was pretty efficient. Anytime you have a pitcher, go scoreless through 7 innings, you'll take that. And Casey Mize has now, I think, established himself as the second best pitcher on this team, jumping the likes of Flaherty and Olsen. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it was classic Casey Mize this weekend, right? A ton of ground balls, that sinker just attacking hitters inside, low part of the zone. Yeah, the swing and miss stuff obviously isn't like where it's been at some point this year, but that's kind of not what you expect from Mize, right? He's always been this big-time ground ball pitcher. You're taking advantage of a Cleveland offense that just is clearly in shambles right now, and it was perfect. It's exactly what Mize needed. You talk about the magic that this Tigers team had. Well, what they didn't have in 2024 was Casey Mize. He wasn't even on the playoff roster. And they also didn't have a number 2 established starter because of all of the bullpen magic that was happening.
Yeah, the pitching
so
by
if Mize
chaos
really has, made himself this clear number 2 guy, it makes you way more confident about, you talk about the taking the first 2 games in a series thing. That's been something that's very important to you. The Tigers win when Casey Mize pitches, right? He's only pitched 15 games, 9 wins. It's a pretty good percentage right there. It's like the Scooble stuff. They win the games that those guys start. So it makes you feel really good going into any playoff series with those 2 guys, 1 and 2.
989-837-6125. Let's see what some of our listeners have to say. Jake says, yes, he's the number 2, but it still feels like we could use another arm. Flaherty has been struggling. This is kind of where this is always going to fall back to, isn't it? There's always going to be this awkward, Casey Mize is great, but you're not getting what you want from Jack Flaherty right now. And that's okay. But when you consider the money he's making, I totally understand that point of view. You'd like
it's
that
okay
spot
though
to be
when
improved.
Mize is pitching well.
You're right. It's fine when Mize is pitching well, but I'm not going to look at Casey Mize pitching well and being like, well, they don't need to add another starter. Like, I'm always going to be down to improve the roster where I feel necessary, and where I feel necessary right now is I'm still not opposed to adding another arm. Let's count these next couple Jack Flaherty starts before July 31st and see what happens. Another one from David. Man, if Jack could figure it out, the Tigers could be something dangerous. We've got Harry saying trade Clark, Sweeney, Perez. Oh, wow. And 2 other minor league players for Skeens from Pittsburgh. That's the kind of text I can appreciate, right?
Right. Is this your burner account texting in?
No, I wish I could say it was. But no. That Clark, Sweeney, Perez, I don't know if I'd want to give up Perez right now. I mean, let's if Skeens is on the table, yes, I'm willing to give up Perez. But Perez has been one of the most electric players on both sides of the field since he has come back from the back spasms injury that kept him out for the first 2 months of the season. He's hitting on both sides of the plate. He's hitting for much more power than he was last season. It feels like any time a ball gets down in right field and someone's trying to turn it into a double, I not only think it's possible, but expect him to gun him down at second, or if someone's trying to, get from first to home or second to home, and a ball gets in the hands of Wenceel Perez, I almost expect him to get gunned down by this guy, the same way I expect when someone's trying to steal a base that either Jake Rogers or Dylan Dingler is going to beam them out. Wenceel Perez has been electric for the Tigers this season.
Yeah, there's an argument that he's their 3rd best position player at the moment.
Behind
just
Riley
currently.
and Torque?
And Glaber.
What about McKinstry? Where does he feel?
That's what I'm saying. Like, the fact that this is an argument is ultimately a good thing, but just Perez's ability offensively and defensively to make an impact, being the switchy, for sure has just been, you don't move that guy.
McKinstry after yesterday, and again, it was, he didn't play, Torque gets hit by pitch, pinch hits, steals second, and eventually finds his way home after a pass ball gets between Bo Naylor's legs. And then he ends up playing first base in extra innings for the first time this season. So now he's played center, right, left, short, second, third. He just plays everywhere. And Benetti laid out this great point after the top of the ninth, where he was basically like, there's really no reason McKinstry shouldn't be in the All-Star game. Look at this guy's WAR. It's basically the same as Gleyber Torres. It's top 30 across baseball right now. I understand that he doesn't pop off the page in terms of the raw numbers, and he doesn't play one true position, but any manager across baseball would be so happy to have a Zach McKinstry on their team to where you could just throw him in anywhere, put him in any circumstance, the ultimate utility guy. I think there is for all MLB, which they just started doing within the past 2 seasons, which makes it mostly meaningless because there's no like history to it. But there is a utility spot for that. Don't be surprised if Zach McKinstry grabs that spot this year and is like technically first team or second team all MLB this season. I'm not going to be surprised at that at all. But as for the way that Cleveland lost yesterday, wasn't it somewhat reminiscent of the way Chicago lost on Thanksgiving to the Lions? It's like this team just can't stay
Honestly,
out of their own way right now. They're
their own
apart.
broadcaster, Tom Hamilton, who does like a really good job, after the Sweeney home run, immediately just goes, man, if you thought Cleveland was dead before this game, they just hit all-time new low. Like,
and it brings me so much joy.
It's
because
so
I hate this
awesome.
team so much. I hate them so much because even when they're getting swept, Ramirez is impossible to deal with. You saw him get intentionally walked.
Just kills the Tigers.
Steven Kwan has been a Tigers killer for a couple of years now. Like this Guardians team has caused the Tigers so much problems over the past year and a half that I do get a little bit of enjoyment watching this team self-implode. Not only self-implode, but just collapse.
Just be terrible at the end of the day. Like, they're not good.
They're not good.
But it felt like coming into this series, it's like they have the edge over Detroit because they
couldn't beat
always
them.
have.
Yeah. They've been the monkey on the back for a while now.
To your McKinstry thing, to close it off, he has been the Tigers all-star. Like they are not nearly where they are without Zach McKinstry. And obviously you can say that about Riley Green and Tarek Skubal. But that's obvious. Zach McKinstry's not obvious.
Should we give Zach McKinstry the MVP, the series win chain?
Yeah, I mean, they're not where they are in the game. I mean, they lose that game if McKinstry doesn't come in and pinch run.
That's like the ideal reason that we invented the chain. It's not necessarily who had the best series. It's who stepped up, who did something that was just needed from a team standpoint, who was selfless and had some great at-bats and did some dirty work. Zach McKinstry did yesterday in the top of the ninth inning, and it's the reason the Tigers ended up winning the game. Ended up playing a position he hasn't played at all this season. Just insane stuff from him. One more text. We'll get to the news here in a second. This is from Kevin. I would say Casey Mize is number 3. Go get a number 2 at the deadline and enjoy your first championship since '84. Hey, if they're able to land a legitimate number 2, and just a couple guys I had written down earlier, Mackenzie Gore, I know Sandy Alcantara has had a terrible season, but that's someone I still have some confidence that Chris Fetter could fix. A Freddie Peralta, like if they could go land one of those type of guys, and then you have 2 guys like Mize and fill in the blank trade candidate competing for who's that number 2, and it's up in the air, that is where the Tigers get themselves into a situation to where they're a pretty scary team to play for anyone across the American League. 989-837-6125. We'll circle back to that momentarily. Let's hit the news in the meantime.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, Ben, let's hop into the news. First off, obviously, Tigers, no day off today, starting a new series with the Tampa Bay Rays back at home. Right now, the starter's undecided. It looked like it was going to be maybe a bullpen day with Dietrich Enns or Kiter Montero getting called up. Then Jack Flaherty was announced as a starter. Right now, it's back to undecided. And there's really no updates from any of the beat guys on Twitter right now. So we'll see what happens. It sounds like Montero was going to return either today or tomorrow to start or be the bulk innings guy. But right now, we don't know if it's going to be today or tomorrow.
Yeah, TBD on MLB.com. It still says Flaherty on ESPN. Maybe the most important one. The books say TBD. So, yeah, TBD for now. 6:40 start in Comerica Park.
Final homestand before the All-Star break as well with this and the Mariners. So,
yep.
We got some MLB news in Washington, a team that just got the advantage of the Tigers last week, they have fired GM Mike Rizzo and manager Dave Martinez. They got swept by Boston this weekend. More notably, this team is picking number 1 in Sunday's MLB draft, so kind of getting that new regime in before the draft starts.
They didn't want to do what was the NBA team? Oh, the Toronto. They didn't want to do the Toronto route, fire their GM the day after the draft. No, that's fine. Washington, we were talking about this a little bit off air over the weekend. Washington has some good players that might get moved here at the deadline.
Yeah, they have good, fun players.
Like Gore, like Mackenzie Gore would be totally someone I would trade for, even though he's got
they're
2 years
just
left
also
of
not
ARB.
trading him though.
I don't know. He's got 2 more years
just part
left
of their
ARB.
core. Yeah. James Wood going to be in the home run derby. He's a fun player as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Did they name a interim manager?
I have not seen anything yet on the interim.
Okay.
Stay put for that. Yesterday, soccer. I know Ben, big soccer guy. United States, they lose to Mexico in the Gold Cup final, 2-1.
Where
can't
was
be
this
doing that.
Where was it?
We can't be losing that.
What do you mean by that?
Because we're the United States. It's July 4th weekend. For real?
But when has there ever been expectation for the United States to like be a dominant soccer team? Never, right?
Right. Yeah.
Maybe on the women's side of things. I don't know.
We did get the rest of the All-Stars announced as far as reserves go. And Clayton Kershaw has been picked to be the honorary All-Star. First time since, obviously, we saw Miguel Cabrera and Albert Pujols in 2022 be the honorary All-Star. So Kershaw gets the nod.
I was thinking about this when I saw that they were doing this for Kershaw. Is there anyone in the American League that would qualify for this? You don't think
that
so?
would qualify?
Like a legend basically getting in? I thought Chapman, but he's actually like someone who could just be in anyway with the year he's having.
Right.
Best whip and best ERA of his career so far this season.
There's always
Salvador
like a case
Perez.
for Salvador Perez. Yeah.
But he's not as old as you think he is. Like, I always think he's like 40 plus years old, but he's 36-ish, I think. So
right.
I don't know if there
guys like
is.
DeGrom is just good enough to be an all-star. Like, if you wanted to give a pity one to Max Scherzer,
yeah,
you could, I guess. But he also just has barely played this year. So, I mean, Kershaw also hasn't either, but we'll see. Wimbledon quarterfinals set to begin tomorrow. 4th round of play finishing today. Carlos Alcaraz got a big win yesterday to advance to the quarterfinals in the men's singles. And then wrapping up, we got a little bit of NBA news. Kevin Durant trade ends up being the first 7-team trade in NBA history. Nothing new was, coming out of this, but it was basically just a bunch of trades that happened thrown into one big trade.
Yeah, leave it up for Matt Ishbia to come up with the 7-team trade in the trade machine.
Right, yes. I feel like his trade machine is the opposite of that. It's like, what's the most AI trade we could make? Like, without making it crazy big.
Like, hey, ChatGPT, what's the stupidest thing I could do right now, but it will sell tickets? I'll do that.
How do we get LeBron, ChatGPT? Last thing, a smaller trade that happened. Cam Whitmore traded to the Wizards for 2 second-round picks. Pistons fan would most notably know him as a guy that they maybe were going to pick 5th overall a couple years ago in the draft, fell all the way to the 20s, and just hasn't really gotten a role in Houston. Definitely still a lot of potential there, though.
Oh yeah, I like Whitmore. I like Whitmore.
That's it.
All right. Appreciate you doing the news for us there, Kyle, as always. So I mentioned this to close out that first segment. The Tigers are now favorites in the American League to win the World Series. How comfortable are you with that statement? Because it's factual at this point. Vegas doesn't lie. Vegas doesn't lose. And right now, Vegas says the Tigers are the best team in the American League. That's next here on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A successful holiday weekend for Great Lakes, taking 2 of 3 at home against the top team in the Midwest League, the West Michigan Whitecaps. The Loons took 4 of 6 overall, with the first 3 games being in West Michigan. It was a fun series filled with 5 top 100 prospects. A lot of offense as well from Great Lakes, including this big-time grand slam on Saturday night from Zaire Hope.
1-0. Hope swings. Hard hit. In the air to left. Murr back to the wall. And gone! Zaire Hope's third against the Whitecaps this season. The second in July. And a grand slam that makes it 7-2.
Loons are right back here at Dow Diamond for 6 more starting Tuesday night, hosting the Lansing Lugnuts. First pitch, 7:05. Pregame coverage starting at 6:50 here on the Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think.
That's really a great point, yeah.
And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am and what I stand for. And, you know, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you know, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you know, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
Detours driving you bonkers? Ideal Party Store's got your back with the Detour discount. While the Lafayette Bridge is closed, enjoy 10% off select craft beer 6-packs and 10% off 4 bottles of select wine, 750 milliliters or more, with 2 great locations, 908 North Johnson on the east side and 401 Salzburg on the west side. Ideal Party Store makes every detour worth it. Serving Bay City since 1934, we're here to make you the life of the party.
The Michigan Baseball Foundation is more than just baseball. It's a driver of economic growth and community. Operating one of the nation's top minor league stadiums, MBF supports job creation and regional development. Through creative partnerships and charitable giving, MBF has helped bring projects like Dow Diamond, the East End Development, Fairfield Inn and Suites, the Plaza, and the Dow Bay Area Family YMCA to life, generating over $23 million annually in economic impact. Every Great Lakes Loons ticket supports these efforts. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Freeland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region, and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesaning, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
As of right now, as of July 7th, 2025, the Detroit Tigers are favorites to win the World Series, at least amongst all the American League teams. They have surpassed the New York Yankees, who are in a wee bit of a free fall right now in terms of their schedule. So I started to think to myself, are we comfortable with this? Are we comfortable talking about them as the best team in the American League? And I think I've kind of been saying that they are for a while now. Basically, like, I don't know, since the launch of the show, I don't think I've ever wavered from, I think that this team is a little bit more stable than that New York Yankees team. And from a betting odds perspective, the Yankees are always going to have a little bit of a favorable odds because they just know people will bet on that. So the odds are always going to be juiced just a little bit. But now that the Tigers have just flat out surpassed them in terms of odds, I think it speaks to, hey, Vegas trusts Casey Mize as the number 2 option, who's probably the 3rd best number 2 option in the American League right now, behind the Yankees, behind the Astros guys in Valdez and Brown, and behind the Rangers guys in DeGrom and Mail. Like, other than those, and Evaldi, other than those 2 guys, or those 2 teams, the Tigers probably have the best number 2 in Casey Mize amongst the playoff teams in the American League. And you don't exactly know who's going to be in the playoffs. It's kind of just a ballpark estimate. But between that and the resurgence of Javi Baez and Riley Green officially being one of the best players in baseball, a bona fide all-star, Tarek Skubal, obviously, that goes without saying, the best pitcher in baseball. All this stuff, it's no longer just magic. It's no longer, how is this team pulling out wins? It's no longer, look at these gritty Tigers. This is the best team in the American League, and now there is suddenly an expectation, not a hope, but an expectation to be playing in the World Series. I like the sound of that, Kyle. It's reminiscent of how we felt about the Lions at some point during that 2024 season, but there's just too much evidence that this is the best team in the American League compared to what it was last year at this time when you were going into the postseason like house money, nothing to lose. And I remember having conversations on the show around that time where it was like, let's not think that way. I think this Tigers team can actually go on a run, and look at that. They do go on a run, win a playoff series, and nearly win 2 playoff series. But with that being said, last year it did feel like this is magic. I think at some point it's going to run out. The pitching by chaos doesn't seem to be something you can bank on for the entirety of a postseason. And that ended up being true. Now, with Casey Mize as an established starter and the resurgence of Javi Baez and Torkelson coming along here as a legitimate weapon at the plate as well, and Riley Green taking another step, and Zach McKinstry being a certified, not an all-star, but an all-star caliber player, and Gleyber Torres legitimately being an all-star, there's just too many things working in favor for the Tigers right now, and they can still tap into that magic that they had last season, because we literally saw them pull out a 2024 gritty Tigers win yesterday when Torkelson gets hit by a pinch, McKinstry pinch hits, steals the base, ends up getting home on a pass ball. That's the kind of voodoo stuff that the Tigers were winning off of last year. When we were sitting here every evening, when we were doing the evening show, basically like, I don't know how this team won again. It was so fun because it was a fun for a fan, and then we'd come on the show and be like, I don't know what to tell you guys. This team just pulled a win out of their butt.
They did it again.
Once again. This team's a lot better than they were last year. Compared to going into the postseason last year where you felt like the hottest team in baseball, all that was really fun. But now I think rather than going in with house money or having any sort of mindset like that, there's now some real expectation for this team to deliver in the postseason.
They still are the hottest team in baseball going all the way back to that time.
Yeah.
They're just more established now. They're not doing it in the voodoo magical ways. They're actually winning like a real good baseball team would in the different ways. I agree that, yes, them being the favorites, you feel confident in it because of all of the different aspects of it all. Offense, defense, the depth. AJ Hinch being the manager, I think, is probably the biggest piece of it. But like it did with the Lions, it scares me, man.
Yeah.
The expectations.
Where we are used to being.
And I'm not doubting them. I'm not saying that they're going to fall apart, but it's like, man, we saw it with the Lions, and I felt way more confident in the Lions than I did in this Tigers team, I would say.
We've done the topic
just as
before.
far as to get to the Super Bowl or get to the World Series.
We've done this topic before, so I don't want to do it again, but just to revisit that here for a moment, more confident in the Tigers right now, or this Lions team when they were like 10-4 last year, beating the hell out of everyone that they played.
10-4. I mean, they
were
or
10-2, 10-1, whatever they were halfway through the season, because that's about what we're at. We're a little more than halfway through the Major League Baseball season.
To me, it was the Lions.
I think I'm still with you there.
It is interesting to see what other people think, but it is very weird how similar like the 2023-2024 Lions is to 2024 Tigers or 2025 Tigers?
I think last year's Lions team is a little bit more comparable because they kept, obviously the injuries just kept piling up and they kept finding new ways to win and new players just kept stepping up. And we've already seen that this year with the Tigers. Maybe the worst of the injuries are behind them already, but at the beginning of the year it was Vierling and Parker Meadows out. Javi Baez steps up and is an all-star outfielder.
McKinstry, who might have got DFA'd if everyone was healthy.
Right. All of a sudden, doesn't make the all-star team, but had a legitimate case of being an all-star. Probably the
Plays
best.
every day, too.
Plays every day, and even when he doesn't, ends up in the game like we saw yesterday. This team, like, people just step up time and time and time again. Hey, Cole Keith, we want you to start playing third base. Fine by me. Is there going to be some kinks to work out? Yep, but I'm willing to learn it. Like, everyone just willing to step up, and they just find a way to win. You texted this to us yesterday. Like, this team found 3 different ways to win just this weekend. There's nothing that scares this team. There's no type
against
of
the
game
team
that they can't
literally
win.
couldn't beat over the last year.
Correct. There's no type of game that this team, or no type of series really, like matchup dependent, that would scare you as a Tigers fan. You know what I mean? Like, there's not like there's an Achilles heel of this team. And we've talked about the bullpen, but that's not matchup dependent, right? That's just something every team is worried about going into the
Tigers bullpen
postseason.
at the end of the year last year got hot. You know?
Yeah. The only reason I'm never going to stop talking about it is because in 2011 and 2012, this was the 3rd worst bullpen in the ERA-wise in the playoffs at 3.9. And then the next year, they were the 2nd worst bullpen. It's what cost them back-to-back seasons in the postseason. That's why it hits home a little bit hard for me. Because I would hate
That's fair.
I would hate for this team to get to the postseason. Casey Mize, Tarek Skubal, maybe they trade for a starter. All these guys are great. The bats are hot. But the bullpen just can't hold up. Because we've seen it happen. Learn from your mistakes. Tyler Holton has been better as of late. Canley has been worse as of late. Vest has still been amazing. Even if Canley were to have been, like, if Canley wouldn't have had a couple bad outings in a row, and it was like, hey, Holton's playing better, Canley's still great, Vest is still great, I'd still want to add another arm because you cannot have enough arms in the bullpen. 989-837-6125. Chris says, absolutely justified the Tigers being the favorites when you combined the 3 starters with Vest and the back end of a bullpen mixed with a solid lineup and arguably the best manager in baseball. That equals success. Yeah, hard to disagree with that one. We'll get to some more text messages here coming up. Again, 989-837-6125. But we do have to recap something that happened here at Dow Diamond. We got the likes of Max Clark, Kevin McGonigle, Jose Briceno, the 3 top prospects in the Tigers organization. Well, if you were here this weekend, you saw history. Because it's more than likely the last time each of those guys will play in a Whitecaps uniform at the high level. All of them promoted yesterday after the series. The top 3 prospects in the Tiger system are all moving up to AA. Let's hit that next here on the Ben Bosscher Show, 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Hey sports fans, heading up north? Whether you're gearing up for the big game, hosting friends, or winding down after a long day, Hops and Schnapps is your ultimate beverage destination. With one of the largest selections of beer, wine, and spirits in Michigan featuring over 1,000 options from around the globe, we're your beverage experts. Plus, our friendly team is here to help you find the perfect pick. Visit us in Standish, Grayling, and Gaylord today. Hops and Schnapps, raise your glass, raise your spirits.
Midland Eye Care wants you to know, according to a recent study conducted by the AOA, the Optical Laboratories Association, and the Vision Council, nearly half of all glasses ordered online had either prescription errors or failed to meet minimum safety standards. Midland Eye Care offers a full-service optical department meeting all your eye care needs. So call your local Midland Eye Care and avoid incorrect prescriptions costing you time and money. Midland Eye Care, your vision source on Eastman Road in Midland, on Cedar and Gladwin, and on East Washington and Freeland.
At First Class Epoxy Floor and Counter, floors don't just get coated, they get a makeover. Epoxy's so tough, it shrugs off spills, stains, and even your wildest dance moves. Garages, workshops, anywhere you want a floor that's smooth, shiny, and just a little bit sassy, they handle it all with style. No more boring floors. Get ready to impress everyone who walks through the door. Slide into durability and flair. First-class epoxy floor and counter, where your floors get the VIP treatment they didn't know they needed.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Health. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com. This is more than just a lineup. It's a daily ritual for the die-hard Michigan sports fans. At 6 a.m., Anthony Bellino wakes up the state with Spin on Sports.
I do not believe it.
At 9, the Ben Bosscher Show is appointment listening hosted here in the Great Lakes Bay region.
I would like to buy some Casey Mize stock.
America's Best takes over at noon. The Herd with Colin Cowherd.
Well, what about Patrick Mahomes?
And at 3, Bill Simonson brings it home on The Huge Show. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt for the most passionate fans in Michigan.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
We're in your town, your school, your huddle. 100.9 The Mitt is here for sports fans in the Great Lakes Bay region. From the hardwoods of Saginaw to Midland's Friday Night Lights. From the streets of Bay City to Freeman, Frankenmuth, and Hemlock. We roll through Beaverton, Auburn, Pinconning, Essexville, and Shepherd. All the way to Gladwin, Birch Run, Coleman, and Bridgeport. This is your sports station. High school, college, NFL, the Loons. It's all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan sports leader.
They tell us we're more connected these days. We have cell phones, email, text messaging, yet we've never felt more disconnected from the people we care about the most. We need a place that's all about bringing us together. Say hello to the Great Lakes Bay region, where towns like Saginaw, Midland, Bay City, Birch Run, Chesaning, and Frankenmuth help us leave behind the overscheduled world we live in and visit a place we haven't seen in a while. One where the people make us feel right at home. And we remember just how bright our kids' eyes get, peeking through a riverboat railing, just to catch a glimpse of the wildlife. So let's go fishing, bird watching. Let's blow the suds off a local tap, take a tall ship dinner cruise at sunset, or stop by a festival just because the name made us smile. Right here in the Great Lakes Bay region, where reconnecting with what really matters is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Max Clark, Kevin McGonigle, Josue Briceno, all in town this weekend here at Dow Diamond. It's a good time here on the 4th of July. 5 top 100 prospects were in the building. And that's the last time we're probably going to see those 3 guys in a Whitecaps uniform because all 3 of them called up yesterday to the Siri E-Wolves. So now they've got Erie Seawolves. Sorry. And then, so now they've got...
The Siri E-Wolves.
Yes, the Siri E-Wolves.
You know, they are going by the alternate identity of the Erie Moon Mammoths. I think we brought this up sometime last week.
Moon Mammoths or Moon Men?
Yes. Moon Mammoths,
What is a Moon Mammoth?
I don't know. It sounds freaking awesome, though.
It does, but I guess I just don't know what a moon mammoth is. Is this the one that some online person came up with and now they're just taking over this alter ego?
Probably, yeah. It's
mammoths.
like their
like
alter
a purple
ego thing, yeah.
A purple mammoth with a space helmet on. Well, anyway, that's where Max Clark and Kevin McGonigle and Josue Briceno are going to be playing now. Seeing them over the course of 3 days, I guess I'm not all that shocked that Kevin McGonigle was the new number one prospect for the Tigers. At least in the box, that guy's just a better player than Max Clark right now. You were up here for the most part throughout this whole weekend, so I don't know how much you got your eyes on him. I'm busy throughout the game, so like I it's rare I get to sit down and just watch.
I made sure to catch every at bat of all of theirs.
That's kind of where I was. Anytime Max or Kevin or Jose were at the box, first name basis like that. Right. I was always trying to make sure to watch. And what Clark is really good at right now is drawing walks, controlling the zone. But when McGonigle's in the box, man, it's horrifying. Same with Briceno. Like, he's just this huge presence standing in the box to where, like, you just can't throw these guys strikes or else they're going to crush them. It's something else. The fact that this guy went through 35, what did he play, 33 games, 34 games by the time it was said and done this year, and he's still hitting 370 on the year. It's like, good gracious. This guy could have been called up months ago. And they let him sit here and keep developing. We saw them for 3 games, and I'm not spilling any beans here because everybody in the stadium saw it. We saw Max Clark. Well, he didn't have his best weekend. Let's just put it that way. Didn't have his best weekend here against the Loons.
I mean, he did play pretty good.
In the 2 games.
Had a couple extra base hits.
Yeah.
Was very good on the base pads.
But had some moments in the box that weren't great. A few strikeouts that led to a little bit of a crash out in the dugout. So I heard. I didn't see it, but everyone else in Dow Diamond apparently saw and heard the Max Clark crash out in the visitor dugout here at Dow Diamond. Some bats were being thrown, apparently. Oh! Yeah, apparently he was making that noise. Yeah, well, that was like a happy crash out. Apparently, after a strikeout, there was bats being thrown and broken in the tunnels. A little bit of that stuff. I'm not saying that for any other reason other than because it's something interesting that happened here. I'm not trying to dissect this guy because that just happens at this level. I mean, it happens in the major leagues. Like stars, you still see kind of crash out in the dugout sometimes. But, sometimes you got to remind yourself, these guys are 20, playing professional ball, semi-professional ball, trying to make it. Stuff's bound to happen. But there was some noise throughout the ballpark because it was kind of a public crash out. He was in the dugout, but a lot of people saw it. Did you see it?
I'm just happy all them guys. I know I did not see the crash out in the dugout. I obviously saw the play where he got pitched at up and in. Started barking at the mound a little bit, upset about it.
A good amount of at-bats like that this
series. Weekend. It was definitely a chippy series. Really happy this happened now and not a week ago. Like, perfect timing for us and everyone in the Great Lakes Bay region who came out and got to watch him play. And now the greatest minor league team of all time has been disassembled. Right. Even though, like, Loons kind of own them, though.
Yeah, they won the series 4-2.
4-6.
Yeah. It was good stuff. And the weird thing is, we didn't have a singular game where all 5 of the top 100 prospects played.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Really, no.
Which was kind of a shame.
McGonigle didn't play yesterday.
Yeah, kind of a shame,
DePaul
but
didn't play till yesterday. Yeah,
it is what it is. You still got to see all of them throughout the course of the series. I don't know how many people other than
you
the
get
people
to see all
that
5 of
work
them
here.
Next Saturday.
Yeah, the Futures game down in Atlanta. That's something that should be exciting, especially for Tigers fans, with getting all of those guys out there. I don't know how much. I don't know who's going to start. I don't know if those lineups have been announced yet, but
probably not.
But just to have 3 guys go down there, I think it's going to be pretty special. There was a part of me. So on Friday when they were here on the 4th, doesn't the 4th feel like forever ago at this point?
It really does.
On the 4th, I haven't even asked you how your 4th of July weekend was, man.
Man. Not even off camera either.
Well, I was with you basically every day. Anyway, on the 4th, all 5 of the top 100 prospects had to take a picture behind home plate. Just as a moment, because that's pretty special in minor league baseball to have that many players share the field together. And I was tasked with going and collecting the Whitecaps players. And I don't know who tasked me with that, but I think they were just like, hey, we'll throw Ben a bone. We can have him go talk to Max Clark and Kevin. I'm sure he'll love that. Sure enough, I did. And as I was going over there, one thought, and only one thought was crossing my mind. It was like, there's probably a pretty low chance that Max Clark has seen any reel or clip we've put out of me like begging the Tigers organization to trade him.
Please trade this guy.
Odds of that are low, but
I know, dude,
not
he's pretty active on
impossible.
Twitter.
But
He's
not
pretty active on
impossible.
Twitter.
So when I was like, hey, like, you still get to do the picture afterwards? He was like, yeah, no problem, man. And I was just like, anything else you want to?
By the way, the Tigers should low-key trade you.
Hey, buddy, get ready to enjoy your last couple weeks as a Tiger. No, I don't think they're going to have to trade that guy to be able to land who they need to land now at the deadline. With that being said, 10 o'clock hour coming up. We've got some Detroit Lions conversations because training camp is just a week away. That's next here on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see like them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see like them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
You have better things to do than to job hunt or scramble to find your next great hire. So let Spherion do it. We say local is our superpower because we live and work where you live and work. We know the local job market. We're here in person. And we're locally owned, so you won't find a partner who's more engaged and literally invested in your success. If you're ready for something better, start with Spherion. Visit us online at Spherion.com to find your local Spherion office. Let's get to work.
From making athletic footwear stronger and lighter to powering the future of electric racing vehicles, material science and R&D are the MVPs of innovation. At Dow, we collaborate with customers and partners to tackle a wide range of sports product challenges with cutting-edge advancements in technology. Dow's innovations can help to improve performance and sustainability throughout the world of sports. Dow, at the intersection of sports and science.
Hi, this is Jim Mahoney with Link Technologies. If you are a business or a nonprofit organization wondering how to navigate today's technologies landscape, let Link Technologies' talented staff work with you to develop a technology plan custom to your specific needs. We bring 27 years of experience helping businesses and nonprofit organizations just like yours achieve their technology goals. Contact us today and see how the right balance between cloud and on-premise resources can best work for you.
Something is amiss at Dow Diamond. The award-winning True Crime Night returns for the Great Lakes Loons on Thursday, July 10th. And this time, our beloved golden bobblehead is missing. It's an evening filled with suspense and intrigue. Join the investigation to uncover the mystery and help solve the case of who framed Lou E. Loon. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt, WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
Welcome into the Ben Bosscher Show, hour number 2, 10 o'clock hour on this Monday. Tigers coming off a sweep of the Ops, the Cleveland Guardians, a team that's had the Tigers number here for about a year, and it felt good to really put Cleveland in their place and assert dominance over another opponent in the AL Central, in which the Tigers now have a commanding 13-run lead-in. 13-game lead-in. It's 13 and a half, actually. It's kind of sensational that in this point in the year, the Tigers already have the division locked up. We're going to circle back to the Tigers in the 11 o'clock hour, but hey, Lions football is a week away, man. I am getting the football fever. And we've talked about that for the past month, but the fact that the Lions are reporting to camp a week from now, we get all these camp battles, all these intriguing storylines. I'm not taking anything with a grain of salt. Everything I read, I'm taking and running with it because it is, in fact, that time of the year. The Lions are reporting to camp a little bit earlier than everybody else because they've got the extra preseason game, the Hall of Fame game against the Chargers, which is July 31st. There's football this month, Kyle. There's football at the end of this month that is semi-meaningless, but it's football nonetheless.
Yeah, I don't have the football itch. I have like the football rash.
Oh, this is beyond an itch.
I'm itching everywhere. Like it's all over the place. Yeah, I need it bad, man. As soon as NBA free agency starts to die down, that's when I'm already all into football. Like I've already been thinking about, getting the red zone package, getting the Sunday ticket package already.
Yep.
It's that time of year.
Later today, hopping on the old Xbox, get some college football going because the new game comes out. Rebuild a Michigan State dynasty, maybe a CMU one as well. That's how I'll be doing the football itch for now. But a week from now, the Lions are reporting to camp. So I started to think to myself, okay, with how loaded this roster actually is, there's less camp battles than there typically is for an NFL team. There are still a few. I'll get to those momentarily. But in terms of who are we watching the most in training camp, I think the person with the most to gain during training camp is Ennis Rakestraw. The person with the most to lose during training camp is Graham Glasgow. I'll start with Rakestraw. Second round pick last season, dealt with a hamstring injury basically all season long. I feel like has basically been the forgotten person in this secondary. We all talk about Terrion Arnold, DJ Reed being the free agent addition, the safety duo in Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph. You've got the nickel corner in Amik Robertson. Everyone seems to love this secondary right now. You think it's the best unit on the team potentially by the end of the season, but a name that kind of gets swept under the rug right now is in fact Ennis Rakestraw. And maybe that's what happens when you take two DBs with your first two picks in a year's draft. One of them's just bound to kind of have a lesser role. But I do think if we're just saying who has the most to gain here in training camp, Ennis Rakestraw might be at the top of the list because this is someone who has been cross-training both at nickel DB and on the outside. They kind of made some hints that he was going to be more so focusing on outside corner this season. Look, him and DJ Reed, pretty similar archetypes, both kind of smaller guys, under 200 pounds. Ennis is a little bit taller, but like you have this guy who you took second overall. And if you run through all the second round picks that Brad Holmes has made, Levi Wunzurike, who by the way led the defensive line in snaps played last season, Josh Pascal, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, and then this season, Tate Ratledge. With all those guys, there's kind of a high expectation with this second round pick. I don't like in terms of who the worst one in this bunch is, maybe Josh Pascal, but that's still a solid person to have on your defensive line. And by the way, the 2023 taking Laporta and Branch in the second round, someone might need to do a study on if anyone has ever landed two players like that in the second round. I'm sure it's possible, but those are two like potential all-pro guys this season. To get them both in the second round is dirty work by Brad Holmes. But ends up taking Ennis Rakestraw, not just to be a depth piece, right? You have some sort of expectation that eventually this guy's going to play. If he's going to be doing both outside and inside corner, I do think he has a lot to gain here in training camp. Is there an avenue for him to start over a Terrion Arnold or a DJ Reed? If everyone's healthy, I would still probably say no, and that kind of goes back to the point of there's just so much talent on this roster that there's not going to be a ton of positional battles. But with that being said, if he can, if I'm reading a story 2 weeks from now that's like Ennis Rakestraw is blowing everyone away, he looks like a completely different player now that he's not dealing with the hamstring injury that basically lasted the entire season. The difference between him and Arnold actually isn't that big. The difference between him and DJ Reed hasn't been that great here in camp. Like he's just been balling out. I will eat that up, Kyle. I will be so happy if I'm reading Ennis Rakestraw buzz in the first couple of weeks of camp, because I do think that he has been a little bit forgotten about amongst Lions fans, and he has a ton to gain here with camp because he had camp last year. Not only was he not playing for the most part in the regular season, like I said, he was banged up for a lot of last year, sidelined with that hamstring injury. Now he's got a chance to really train with this secondary and who knows, establish himself as a really useful tool, someone who can play maybe multiple different positions on this secondary. He, to me, has the most to gain when training camp starts a week from today.
He definitely has been semi-forgotten about just because of the amount of depth that they've added into this group. Obviously, going corner with your first 2 picks last season, it kind of made you think that this guy was going to be a priority. And then they make these moves in free agency to add guys. My question is, like, for sure rooting for him to do good in training camp, and he could do really well in training camp. How much truly can he gain, though? Like, even if he's outstanding, he's not starting over Reed or Arnold. And then in the nickel, obviously Branch is now playing primarily safety, but they still like to throw him in that slot a little bit. Amik, if healthy, seems like he probably is prioritized on the depth chart, right? Based on how he ended the season.
But even if he's
like,
not
where
starting,
is Rakestraw's role?
If he's not, is it not a total bonus if he's a rotational corner? Like,
For sure.
he doesn't have to be.
He also just should be, right? Taking second
for
round
now. Yeah, he doesn't have to be a starting corner, I think, for him to have a good training camp, right? And are we talking about a depth piece in a secondary? Yes, but again, that's how loaded this team is. It's a second round pick. It's not like this is some 4th round pick with no expectation. There is some expectation here for Ennis Rakestraw. The problem is,
I'm just like, what's the
there's so many
ceiling?
guys ahead of him. The ceiling is, well, if someone happens to go down at some point, and we've seen some training camp injuries before,
especially in the secondary.
Do you feel comfortable with him? Is it going to be a massive hole in the defense if Ennis Rakestraw's out there? Well, if we're getting awesome reports from camp that Ennis Rakestraw's been balling out, then I'm going to feel a lot better about the depth of the secondary that has continued to kill the Lions over the past couple of seasons, despite them, the last 3 off seasons, doing as much as they possibly can in the offseason to
will
help
Kindle
fill that
Vildor
void.
come back in form of Ennis Rakestraw?
Why would you speak that into existence? Oh, my God.
Well, I'm just saying.
I never
that
want to
you
see
feel
Kindle
comfortable.
Vildor in a Lions uniform again. Never want to see
course.
Khalil Dorsey in a Lions uniform again. This is the out to that. This is how you never have to see these guys in Lions uniforms again. And it's Rakestraw stays healthy, and it's Rakestraw takes a big step up, which it can't be that hard because, again, he barely played last season because of that hamstring injury. That's, to me, who has the most to gain. Is there someone else that pops off because, or pops to your mind? Because, again, most of the starters are established. All the starters are really established. There, I guess, is a couple question marks on that offensive line in terms of who's going to get what job. But for the most part, it's hard for a lot of guys to gain stuff unless we're talking, if we really want to get into, hey, like 90th guy on the roster, can he make the team? I'm glad to do it, but I don't think our audience wants to hear that.
Right. I think that you could correlate it with the guy that you have with the most to lose and kind of throw a bone to one of the rookie offensive linemen, like a Ratledge or a Frazier. Like, do those guys have a chance to, even a Mahogany? Like, those guys definitely have a ton to gain just because they don't really know who's starting on the offensive line right now.
Mm-hmm.
But that's almost like a unit pick. Like, it's not really a specific guy. I do think, honestly, Tyleik Williams, and I know it's kind of a weird one.
It's a good
just
pick.
because he is going to be a starter.
Well,
but, like,
we don't know that. We don't know that.
Well, yeah, and they made some moves to the defensive line as well to add some more guys to the interior.
Yeah, Roy Lopez now in there. Like,
yes,
the Lions are always going to make even their rookies earn the starting spot.
For sure.
But you hope so. I would imagine he's a starter. I'd be
assuming
banking
that
on
the plan is once Aleem returns, him and Reeder are still the guys on the interior. What if Tyleik just pops off that much where he can't stay off the field?
I wouldn't be totally shocked. The other thing you have to remember about Reeder is he didn't get a training camp last year either.
Right.
So there is a world where Reeders just hits the ground running a little bit better this season. Again, a great run stuffer. But having Tyleik Williams there as kind of a hybrid between Aleem McNeil and DJ Reeder, that's going to kill me this year, man. DJ Reeder and DJ Reed both on the defense.
Just tragic.
Just a horrifying name duo for a sports radio host. That, to me, there is some meat on that bone in terms of Tyleik Williams having a lot to gain there, too. That's a good pull. In terms of who's going to, who is the most to lose, man, if Frank Ragnow wouldn't have retired, I'd be real worried about Graham Glasgow getting cut. Like, seriously. Because they saved $5 million if they were to cut him this season. It'd be some dead cap money, but you'd free up some money nonetheless to go sign a guy like Zadarius Smith or something. You have the money to do it anyway, but then you could offer him a couple more bones. But the fact that Ragnow retires now puts you in a situation where Graham Glasgow, Tate Ratledge, Miles Frazier, and Christian Mahogany, those 4 guys are going to be competing for 3 spots. Who's the odd man left out? My guess, the favorite would be Miles Frazier, the 6th-round pick this season out of LSU.
You would think so?
I would think so, but I can't say that. Like, at least when everyone's healthy, Graham Glasgow's got the advantage of being a pro, being in the system, knowing the offense.
He also has played center, and I think that having as a backup to Ratledge is pretty important.
But I'm not going to be surprised if by the end of the season, this dude is just deteriorated once again, because that's what we saw last year. By the end of the season, this guy was useless. Useless. 10 pressures allowed in that game against the Commanders. That's unheard of for an interior offensive lineman nonetheless. You're signing up to get your quarterback killed, especially one who doesn't move, like Jared Goff. So I do think there is a little bit of, you better show up here, Glasgow. And again, the fact that he can play both center and guard probably gives him some financial security and some security making the team. But there is some, hey, you cut them and you buy some stock in these guys that you drafted and put them in a position to where they're just going to have to play. You save some money at the end of the day. I think he has a lot to lose, especially with all the guys that they've drafted knocking on the door to try to take that spot.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like he could lose his employment, according to this. That's a lot to lose, for sure.
I'll say this, if Ragnow didn't retire, I would be making the case that they should be cutting Graham Glasgow because he was a liability the last 2 seasons at the end of the year. Liability. 989-837-6125. Who is the most to gain? Who is the most to lose in training camp? That starts a week from today. When we come back, we'll take a trip around the league. It is the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
I'm Sarah Stockford, host of 100.9 The Mitt Success Suite, a podcast highlighting the most inspiring female leaders across the Great Lakes Bay region. This month, we spoke with Mary Draves, former Dow executive and leader in the Midland community.
I think as we get a little bit older, we start to care less about what other people think. If you That's really a great point, yeah. And so as I've gotten older, I think I've become way more comfortable in who I am, what I stand for. And, when you get to that point, all of a sudden, you become less apologetic about who you are. You also, you're like, hey, this is me, I'm cool with it. Yeah. And I think in my 20s versus maybe I'm in my 50s now, it's a very different person. And that's just really part of the continuum of growth.
Listen to the full interview with Mary on 100.9 The Mitt's YouTube. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be alerted when new episodes drop. That's Success Suite with Sarah Stockford.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Ace Hardware and Sports in downtown Midland has some extra savings for rewards members this month. Let's clean up that yard. Save $3 instantly on select Roundup and Ortho weed killers. Save $10 on 64-ounce spruce, weed, and grass killer. You know what season it is? Grilling season. Free assembly and delivery on grills, $399 and up from brands like Weber and Traeger. Need that deck touched up? Do it and save $10 instantly on a gallon of Cabot exterior stain.
Now, wait a second, Sharon. So the Midland Area Community Foundation runs the Midland Area Santa House?
You bet we do.
And Midland Area River Days?
Absolutely.
Plus scholarships for students and grants for local nonprofits? That's like hitting the cycle and impacting our community.
Anyone can step up to the plate and help build community capital for as little as $5.
$5? That's the cost of a snack at the ballpark. How do I get in the game?
Just visit midlandfoundation.org and make a gift to our community investment fund. Every dollar makes a difference.
Join the team. Give today at midlandfoundation.org. At Aird Insurance Group, they're more than just policies. They're your trusted partners in protecting what matters most.
Whether it's auto, home, life, or business insurance, their team takes the time to understand your needs and find the best coverage for your unique situation.
With personalized service and unbeatable rates, Aird Insurance Group makes protecting your future easy.
Call Aird Insurance Group today and see why their clients trust them to keep them covered.
Aird Insurance Group.
The experience matters.
Mountain View Restaurant at Apple Mountain, where casual elegance meets breathtaking views. Our new expanded menu features a wide variety of dishes to satisfy every palate. From fresh seasonal options to your all-time favorites. Whether you're hosting a client lunch, enjoying happy hour, or planning a date night, we have the perfect setting for every occasion. Don't miss our weekly features and refreshing beverages. In the summer, dine al fresco on our beautiful patio and soak in the scenery. Mountain View, where great food meets spectacular views.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
(989-837-6125). We were doing some Detroit Lions before we went to break, and now it's time to take a trip around the league.
It's time to zoom out and go around the league.
We got more NFL stuff on the Around the League today,
yes.
Ben.
Yes.
We've been going through all these fun NFL offseason articles. I will say, I'm a sucker for these. All these ones that we've been doing, these rankings and draft stuff.
People get creative in the offseason, man.
So today, this one is crazy. Ben Solak of ESPN just decided to... I want to know how long this took him to do. The best NFL draft pick ever at every draft slot, from number 1 to 262.
It'd be one thing to do the first round.
All right, let's start off.
To do
Number
all
262. Who is it?
Brock Purdy. He's got to be the best Mr. Irrelevant, right?
I don't feel like scrolling that far.
All right, we don't have to. But I would imagine the best Mr. Irrelevant is the guy who just got paid $50 million a season.
Yeah, for sure.
1 for 1. Let's go.
1 for 1. But we're going to start at the top, of course. So, if you didn't really understand that from the quick description, basically, who's the best guy to get picked number 1 overall ever? And then who's the best guy to pick number 2 overall ever, etc.
This is ESPN, right?
This is ESPN. Why does that affect your guessing?
I think number 1 is Peyton Manning, right?
Yeah, number 1 is Peyton Manning.
Okay.
Obviously been some good ones. John Elway, Terry Bradshaw, notable quarterbacks. Myles Garrett, a notable defensive player that could be eventually up here. But
but come on. Peyton Manning's a top 3 quarterback of all time?
Of course.
Top 5 quarterback of all time? I would say top 3. I think maybe I get some pushback from that. But just in terms of accolades, I mean, how many quarterbacks have won Super Bowls on 2 different teams?
I think he has 5 MVPs, too.
5 MVPs. Has the passing yards record for a single season and touchdowns. Yeah, Peyton Manning's great.
Pretty notable list, yeah. How about number 2?
So, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm really putting my
No, it's not Mitchell Trubisky.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm going to have to come up with a new guess then. Correct me if I'm wrong. Him and Barry Sanders both came out the same year. So I'm going to go with Barry Sanders, number 2. Is he the best second overall pick ever? Is there a quarterback? Is there honorable mentions on this? Do they give a couple other candidates at number 1?
Well, you're right with Barry Sanders, but he's not the number 2 pick.
Oh.
He was the number 3 pick.
I'm going to get clowned for that.
Barry Sanders is the number 3rd overall pick guy.
Does it give you some alternatives on the list?
For number 2?
For all the picks.
Yeah. It kind of throws some guys out that could be on here. Joe Thomas and Anthony Munoz both picked 3rd overall. Kind of crazy.
Anthony Munoz, the guy
that lineman.
The Penei Sewell path.
Right.
It's probably not Megatron, but if it is Megatron and I don't get it, I'm going to feel bad, so I'll guess Megatron at number 2.
It's not Megatron. He's definitely in the list of honorable mentions. A lot of people say this is the best defensive player in NFL history.
Oh, did Lawrence Taylor go too?
Yes, Lawrence Taylor went 2nd overall in 1981. For sure is probably the best defensive player of all time. 1 MVP as a defensive guy. That's pretty wild.
Yep, correct, but a kicker also won MVP 1 season. You got to put it in a historical context. It just won't happen again.
Does that even count?
That's what I'm saying. It just won't happen again. And I'm not trying to take anything away from LT. I'd probably, Lawrence Taylor, he probably is the best defensive player ever, but also did cocaine at halftime and pregame of every game he played. So, imagine what Aaron Donald would have been like if you would have given him a line before every game.
Of course.
Just imagine.
great thing to imagine, yeah.
Aaron Donald's the best
some other
defensive
good
player
guys at number
I've
2.
ever seen.
Really? Donald over...
What do you mean?
Yeah, he is.
There's
I
no
guess I was just
question.
trying to think. JJ Watt, it's not no question,
Yes, it is, because he was doing it from the interior.
Okay. Just throwing out some guys, man. But some other second overall pick guys. Saquon is on here. Von Miller, Marshall Faulk, Julius Peppers. Saquon just won the Super Bowl.
I
man.
know.
Don't diss Saquon like that.
But
all right,
okay.
You got the top 3. How about number 4? This is where it starts to get tough.
This is hard. This isn't like the NBA where your draft grade or your draft position like sticks with you forever. Once you are on a team, this is hard.
I'll give you a hint. It's another running back. If that helps.
Just trying to think of running backs that had great collegiate careers. Zeke didn't go 4, did he?
No, I think Zeke went 5. But, like, this guy's way better than Zeke.
Yeah, obviously.
This guy's like a legend.
Did LT?
You could argue,
Did LaDainian Tomlinson go 4? Did Adrian
Good
Peterson
guess.
go 4?
No, Peterson actually is the 7th overall pick guy, though.
Did
this guy's
Walter
argued with Barry
Payton-
Sanders for best? Yes.
Walter Payton
There you
went
go.
4th?
Walter Payton, 4th overall pick in 1975. Really not a lot of other
I remember that
tremendous 4th overall picks. Charles Woodson on here, like for sure, really good. Mean Joe Green on here as well. But that's basically it.
That was so on brand from you to be like, not a lot of great 4th overall picks. Charles Woodson, I guess. So on brand from you, Kyle.
It's just like whatever, you know. Anyone could have won Heisman on defense, right? That doesn't count since you just kind of laid that out.
Well, now that Travis
move
Hunter
on.
did what he did, Charles Woodson's Heisman season looks way less
Speaking
cool.
of Travis Hunter, who do you got for 5th overall pick? Loaded here.
What does that have to do? What does that have to do with Travis Hunter?
Think, man. Use your brain.
Dion.
Just slamming the Celsius over there.
Dion.
Yes, it is Deion Sanders.
Let's go.
5th overall pick. A ton of really good options here. Junior Seau, rest in peace. LaDainian Tomlinson, Jamar Chase currently, Jalen Ramsey currently. But Dion, yes, is the 5th overall guy.
Prime time.
How many more of these you want to run through? Do you want to just keep going?
Let's get through the 10 at least.
Okay. Number 6, I'm going to be straight up with you. I don't know if you're going to get this. It's an offensive lineman, Hall of Fame offensive lineman.
Give it to me then.
90s, Walter Jones from Seattle.
Yeah, probably wouldn't have gotten
Julio
that.
Jones was picked here. Torrey Holt picked here. Tim Brown, some good receivers. But he is one of only 4 Seahawks with his number retired.
Really?
Nice.
Do you think Mr. Unlimited gets his number retired? He won a Super
He
Bowl
probably
for them.
should, right? Went to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. Really good prime, too. A lot of people kind of just forget how good he was in his prime because of how he's turned into.
He was a top 3 quarterback in the league. But you know he never got an MVP vote?
And I was just going to say, I genuinely think he is one of the better players of our generation to not win MVP. Quarterbacks.
I remember for so long, Colin was on this wagon, and this was when I was just like die hard, listen to Colin every single day, worship what he said.
I do right now.
I still listen to him every day, but I used to like worship what this dude said. And he would always say, it's Russell Wilson, it's Carson Wentz, and it's Patrick Mahomes. Those are your 3 guys.
What?
Or maybe that might have been pre-Mahomes, honestly.
Carson
I think
Wentz.
it was. Yeah, he loved Carson Wentz and Russell Wilson. Those were the 2 guys to him.
All right, you already got the number 7 guy being Adrian Peterson. Kind of a crazy one, though. Let me get your take on this. Josh Allen picked 7th overall.
You said it was, I think by the end of it, he passes Adrian Peterson. Now that he has
But
the
even
MVP.
right now, you wouldn't? MVP and just being the quarterback? I mean,
who
Peterson
would
obviously also has the MVP. But
Who would I rather have is a different question than who is the best 7th overall pick. The best 7th overall pick is probably Adrian Peterson because his entire career is played out. He's got the 2,000-yard season. Like, it's probably AP, but...
Lions legend, Adrian Peterson.
That's correct. Good job, Kyle. Yes. Did he play for another team? Adrian Peterson?
He signed with another team, but never played. His last game played in the NFL was with the Lions, I think.
think he signed with Arizona at some point, too. I don't remember.
He played for them
pre
pre-Lions.
Oh, okay.
He ended up playing for the Saints, the Cardinals, the Commanders. Played for a ton of different teams.
AP.
Also, the last non-quarterback to win the MVP.
And
how long do we think that goes on for?
Forever.
You think so?
Yeah.
Shout out to Champ Bailey as well.
If Cooper
for being
Kupp
7th
didn't
overall
win it and Saquon didn't win it, then no one will ever win it. That's
But
not
like
a quarterback.
wide receiver.
We saw a wide receiver win
Saquon's
triple
different.
crown, and they didn't win it.
A wide receiver, though, just can't win the MVP.
Okay, then
because their quarterback is giving them the ball.
Okay, but Saquon, if there was going to be a running back to win it again, it would have been Saquon last year, and he didn't win it. And
I mean,
wasn't
he
even
didn't
close.
have like the
He
most
wasn't even a top
ungodly
3.
year ever.
Kinda. Was he even top 3 in voting? He might. I think he did finish 3rd.
That's why the Offensive Player of the Year has just become what it is. All right, let's finish out the top 10.
Okay.
Number 8, 4-time Super Bowl champ, defensive player.
Oh, wow.
From the 80s. Giving a big hint there. Safety. 8-time first-team All-Pro. Wow.
Play for the Bears?
No. Bears didn't win 4 Super Bowls.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, then he played for the Niners? Or played for the Niners?
Yeah.
It's the first letter of his first name.
R.
It's the first letter of his last name.
L. Ooh, this is bad. This is a bad one,
really
Ben.
bad. Lewis? Something
No,
Lewis?
Ronnie Lott.
Oh, Ronnie Lott, yeah.
Ronnie Lott is the number 8
That's
guy.
so tough. That's such a
number
bad
9
look,
guy.
man.
Another offensive lineman. To me, this is like the first offensive lineman I think of as far as like best ever. I don't know if he actually is. This is just the guy that pops into my head all the time.
Well, I always think of Muniz as the best guy ever.
Right, and he probably is, but this is the guy that always pops into my head. 14 Pro Bowls, played 19 years. All with just one team.
Give it to me.
Bruce Matthews. And then the 10th
This is hard.
overall pick.
I don't like this. This is hard.
This was your idea.
Yeah,
10th overall pick. Who is it? Not giving any hints for this one.
All right, give me a hint.
Because you, of all people, should know this.
Is the guy taking... was it a Lion?
It's recent. Within the last 10 years.
10th overall.
Like, you know every single thing about this guy.
Mahomes.
Yes, Mahomes.
Yeah, duh.
Patrick Mahomes, 10th overall. And that's it.
All right. That was our Around the League. That made me feel really stupid.
That's kind of the whole point of Around the League, you know?
Well, I don't know about always. Certainly wasn't that one. All right. Some intriguing camp battles for the Detroit Lions as training camp is 1 week away. That is next year on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Suit up, Sea Captain. At Dive and Glide in Midland, we've got all the gear you need to make a splash. Flippers that fit like a glove, masks that show you the underwater magic, and tanks ready to fuel your next adventure. Whether you're snorkeling the local lakes or dreaming of ocean depths, Dive and Glide has your back and your fins. Find us on Cambridge Street or swim over to diveandglideinc.com. Dive and Glide, making waves one splash at a time so you can dive deeper than ever before.
Hey parents, got a young athlete at home? Sign them up for the Greater Midland Try Kids Try Youth Triathlon, Saturday, July 19th at Plymouth Park in Midland. Kids ages 6 to 15 will swim, bike, and run their way through the finish line in a fun, supportive environment. And don't miss the mini TKT for ages 3 to 5 happening Friday, July 18th. Register now at greatermidland.org/races. That's greatermidland.org/races.
Something is amiss at Dow Diamond. The award-winning True Crime Night returns for the Great Lakes Loons on Thursday, July 10th. And this time, our beloved golden bobblehead is missing. It's an evening filled with suspense and intrigue. Join the investigation to uncover the mystery. and help solve the case of who framed Lou E. Lou. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team. It's a bird, it's a plane, it's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Health. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
From Midland to Bay City, Saginaw to Sanford, from Frankenmuth, Freeland, and Hemlock to Auburn, Essexville, and Pinconning, 100.9 The Mitt is the heartbeat of the Great Lakes Bay region, and proud of it. We're your home for local sports, local stories, and local pride. Whether you're in Birch Run, Beaverton, Gladwin, Chesaning, or Coleman, football, basketball, hockey, Spartans, NFL, Loons, all right here. 100.9 The Mitt, Mid-Michigan's sports leader.
Have you noticed bad behavior has become normalized at interscholastic athletic events? Some fans seem angry. They lack civility toward one another. Some even get aggressive and unruly. Time out! What is going on? This has to stop. Let's not forget, school sports aren't just about winning. And they're definitely not an excuse to take your frustrations out on the official or the opponent. They're about teaching lessons like perseverance, respect, and empathy, so students can learn and grow as people, not just as players. We all have a role to play in setting a good example for our students and teaching them these important values. So fans, it's time to step up your game and behave positively at interscholastic athletic events in Michigan.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Training camp 1 week away for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, that's right. Players back in Allen Park a week from today, getting ready for their early start to the season. July 31st, they'll be playing their spring. I keep calling it spring training. I don't know why. It's their Hall of Fame game for preseason for the NFL. They've got an extra preseason game compared to everyone else, starting a week early, which means they report to camp a week early. Not as many camp battles as there's been in the past few years, just with how established this roster is. They bring back basically every starter they had last year, with the exception of Carlton Davis, Kevin Zeitler, and Frank Ragnow. The camp battles that I am looking forward to the most consist of the offensive line, to see how that plays out. I assume Tate Ratledge, the rookie, is going to be taking over at center, but who are the two starting guards going to be? My guess would be Christian Mahogany and Graham Glasgow. But that is very much in the air in terms of how all those guys fit together and where everyone is. The other one that I'm looking forward to is just how the defensive line plays out. Right? Is Tyleik Williams ready to be a day one starter? Is DJ Reed going to be healthy? Is it Levi? Is it Josh Pascal that's going to start across from Aiden Hutchinson? Is Zadarius Smith going to be there at the beginning of training camp? All to be determined. I think the way the secondary shakes out is pretty much going to be set, but the depth, Ennis Rakestraw, is he firmly establishing himself as the backup nickel and the third corner behind DJ Reed and Terrion Arnold? That's a fascinating storyline to watch. The wide receivers even. Can Tesla kind of establish himself? Tesla and Tim Patrick, really. Who shapes out to be the wide receiver 3 on this team. Betting favorite, probably minus 250, 240, Tim Patrick. But hey, man, when you move up that much draft capital to go get a guy in the third round in Isaac Teslat, they clearly seem to like him. Off the chart measurables in terms of the combine stuff. They love his character too, how that thing plays out. Other than that, there's not a ton that necessarily is to be determined. Whether or not Hendon Hooker can fight off Kyle Allen as this second quarterback on the team, I think is somewhat of a storyline, but a non-important storyline because let's just face it, if Jared Goff goes down, not good news regardless of who that backup quarterback is. So am I missing anything, Kyle? Is there another battle that sticks out that might end up being a little bit more intriguing than I'm making a point of?
No, I think like the Sione Vaki stuff is a little bit interesting.
Running back 3, Craig Reynolds versus Sione Vaki.
But also just because like at some point you feel like Gibbs is going to really take over for Montgomery. So I don't know, like the Vaki stuff is interesting, just how they're going to use him. I've always been intrigued by that. But no, there really is no other big ones. The big thing is the offensive line one. And that is for sure number one. It's in its own category. It's been one of the stronger units, not just on the Lions team, but in the entire NFL over the last couple of years. It's kind of what they built up first in this rebuild. And now there's a chance it's like the 5th best unit on the team this year.
They lost 2 of their 3 best players, so they're going to take a step back.
Yes.
Regression is expected.
Now, the best player on the team plays in that unit, so that helps. But I don't know, especially with how much it could affect the entire offense with a Jared Goff that has always played under really good protection as a Detroit Lion. If that's not the case, who knows what this team looks like? So that's the big story to me.
Is there a full level of trust in Tate Ratledge right away? Probably not. There's more
there
than
could be, yeah.
There's more than likely going to be a rookie. Potentially, there's more than likely going to be 2 guys that are either rookies or sophomores starting. I don't see a scenario where that's not true. And even if Christian Mahogany ends up taking one of the starting guard spots, it's someone who has 2 starts in their NFL career. Those 2 starts were excellent, graded out like immaculately on PFF. But again, that's only 2 starts. You can't take 2 starts and say, this is what we're getting from this point forward from this guy, despite me really liking the tape on Christian Mahogany. So how the offensive line plays out, I think, is fascinating. And the other thing is like 3rd and 1 or 3rd and inches on the goal line, it was basically automatic to give the ball to David Montgomery, run right to Penei Sewell, run between Penei Sewell and Frank Ragnow right at Kevin Zeitler. And odds are you're going to score a touchdown. Is that the same automatic 6 points or automatic first down that it was a season ago with potentially a rookie center and Graham Glasgow probably in that right guard spot? I don't know.
Yeah.
And that is slightly concerning to me. Not that they can't, and not to mention, also don't have the creativity of Ben Johnson scheming something up to catch an defense necessarily off guard. This is something we've talked about many times, so I don't need to go into too big of a rant about it, but just like 20 seconds, Ben Johnson was a super genius in terms of when to press what button. That's what made him such a great play caller. He kept the defensive coordinator on their toes because you never knew what was coming. Anything could come at any certain point throughout the game. I'm not confident. I'm not worried that the offense is going to stink. I'm not worried that the players are going to regress, but there is a sense of 3rd and 2. Does the offensive play calling become a little bit predictable under John Morton? I'm not saying the answer is yes. I'm not saying the answer is no. I'm saying it's just probably not as unpredictable as it is with Ben Johnson there. So that is a storyline heading into the season. Not necessarily a camp battle, but these 3rd and 1s, are they still going to be automatic with a new play caller and a new offensive line, 3 new offensive linemen in the interior spot? I guess only 2 with Graham Glasgow, but that's kind of an asterisk
But
on
you
that.
still have Frazier potentially too.
Yeah, because we don't really know what Glasgow's role is going to be yet.
And we're looking at this from the negative lens of like what happens if it's not as good.
Well,
I think it's important to note.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's important to note that like, what if these guys are really good, and now all of a sudden you're looking at the future of your interior offensive line? What if Mahogany and Ratledge are just like, these guys are our center and left guard for the next 5 to 10 years?
that'd be great, but I think to expect him to be equally as good as last year or the last few seasons,
expecting it.
That's almost unfair on Tate Ratledge. Hey, there was an all-pro center that's been here the past 5 years, best center in football.
No one's saying they're going to be as good as them.
I think you say we're being negative. I think we're being realistic. The offensive line's not going to be as good this year. How are they going to step up in different ways? Right? And it seems like under Johnny Morton, this is going to be a little bit more of a pass-heavy attack. That was kind of his specialty in Denver. That was how he helped design this offense with Ben Johnson in the first place. I do kind of expect him to be a little bit more creative in the passing game and get some more guys involved. They seem to want to really get Laporta back on track. They want J-Mo to take even another step forward. Maybe Amon-Ra's numbers aren't as extreme as they've been the past 2 seasons. That seems to be how they're going to counterpunch losing some players on the offensive line. Get Gibbs way more involved in the passing game as too. There were some reports from optional minicamp last month that they were using Gibbs in some pretty unique ways. We don't know what that means, but definitely something I'm keeping my eyes on going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we're not looking at it from a negative thing. You're right about the realism, but I think it is worth noting that, like, it could just work out, and these guys could be good, and this isn't a revolving door on the interior offensive line over the next couple years.
Good point.
Is that fair?
It's very fair. Thank you. If you need to hire fast, let Spherion do the heavy lifting and get your great candidates without the hassle. Their simple online hiring platform makes it easier than ever to find the right employees fast as humanly possible. Post jobs, review applicants, and connect with top talent, all from your phone or your computer. Whether you're staffing short-term projects or building the dream team, Spherion has your back. Get back to running your business while Spherion handles the hiring headache. Hiring made simple, smart, and online. That right there is Spherion. The Tigers won in a classic 2024 gritty Tigers fashion yesterday. That is next year on the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. Well, an interesting series over the weekend for the Tigers. Low-scoring affair against probably their biggest rival to this point, the Cleveland Guardians. And nonetheless, it was a satisfying series for Detroit to get the better of Cleveland, who has really had their number, not only this season, but obviously last year in the playoffs, been one of the 2 teams on the year to win 3 straight games against Detroit. But man, you take a look at this division, it is crazy to think that the Tigers basically already have locked up the American League Central. Tigers 20-plus games over 500, have no one even close to them in second place in the division. This was a division that sent 3 teams to the playoffs a year ago. A month into the season, they had 4 teams above 500, and coming into the year, the odds for those 4 teams of the Tigers, Guardians, Twins, and Royals to win the division were all pretty tight. There was not a clear favorite. And the Tigers have just knocked that narrative completely out of the window. The series was satisfying just for Detroit to get Cleveland's number, but at the end of the day, it really didn't have the same juice on it as the last couple matchups with the Guardians have had. Just because felt like so much more was on the line. Both teams fighting for the playoffs, fighting in the playoffs. But now the Tigers are just too good. It'd be virtually impossible for them to lose the American League Central at this point. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Hey parents, got a young athlete at home? Sign them up for the Greater Midland Try Kids Try Youth Triathlon, Saturday, July 19th at Plymouth Park in Midland. Kids ages 6 to 15 will swim, bike, and run their way through the finish line in a fun, supportive environment. And don't miss the mini TKT for ages 3 to 5 happening Friday, July 18th. Register now at greatermidland.org/races. That's greatermidland.org/races.
I'm here with Matt Smith with Modern Realty. All right, Matt, forecast 2025 for us.
Well, in 2025, I believe you're going to see a much more balanced market. We've been in a seller's market for a number of years. We're still not busting at the seams with inventory, but we are seeing the market start to balance out a little bit. That means it's still a really good time to get great value out of your home. But for the buyers out there, it also means that your path to home ownership should be a little bit easier.
Hey parents, got a young athlete at home? Sign them up for the Greater Midland Try Kids Try Youth Triathlon, Saturday, July 19th at Plymouth Park in Midland. Kids ages 6 to 15 will swim, bike, and run their way through the finish line in a fun, supportive environment. And don't miss the mini TKT for ages 3 to 5 happening Friday, July 18th. Register now at greatermidland.org/races. That's greatermidland.org/races.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Health. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt.
Here are 5 more good reasons for multi-sport participation. Multi-sport athletes are more coachable. They have higher athletic ceilings. They become better talent in the long run. They have higher sports IQs. Their sports skills transfer, and they are better teammates. Multi-sport participation is cross-training for life. Learn more at the MHSAA website. A message from the Michigan High School Athletic Association, promoting the value and values of educational athletics.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Detroit Tigers. They pulled out a 2024 victory yesterday. What do I mean by that? Well, this season the Tigers have the best run differential in the American League. They've scored the second most runs. It's been a powerhouse of a unit. Last year, when they had that 0.2% chance to make the playoffs, from that point until when the postseason really started, I remember doing shows and having nothing to say other than, I don't know how, but this team continues to pull games out of their butts. And yesterday was the perfect example of a 2024 gritty Tigers win. Spencer Torkelson, after they can't score for 9 innings, they cannot get a run on the board all weekend, they're trailing 1-0 in the 9th inning. Spencer Torkelson's at the plate, gets hit by a pitch, and that's when the Tigers see that, and they're like, oh, we're taking this and running. So they pinch hit Zach McKinstry. Zach McKinstry steals second. He's initially called out. They challenge it, overturned. Zach McKinstry finds his way to third. Ball gets between Bo Naylor's legs. And Zach McKinstry takes off, takes home, ties up the game 1-1. And you just kind of had a sense that despite them being on the road with all the Tigers fans that showed up in Cleveland, you just kind of had the sense you let the Tigers get into it. You let them crawl back. And I know it was only 1 run, but you gave them a sliver of hope, and they took it and completely ran with it. Last season, the Tigers had unlimited magic in the bottle. It felt like they had a bottomless, bottle of the magic potion, of the juice. And yesterday, it was nice to see that once in a while they can resort back to that gritty team who wasn't the best team on offense, wasn't this juggernaut of a team, but when their backs were against the wall and it looked like this game was about to be over and potentially the worst loss of the season, considering Tarek Skubal was on the mound, had 10 Ks, 0 walks again. Kind of just like, you know what's funny? We're about to hit the 11 o'clock hour and we've kind of just glanced over like, yeah, Tarek Skubal was amazing again. 10 Ks, 0 walks. kind of just a typical day in the office for Tarek Skubal. Not
like
that,
if Jack Flaherty showed up tonight and did that would be our whole show tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's like, Skubal was fine yesterday. He wasn't the story of the game, though, because Skubal, like I said, he does that when he goes out. When Skubal's on the mound, he just does that type of stuff. So it was about to be the worst loss of the year. They can't score a run. They haven't been able to score runs all weekend. Skubal is fantastic. They're about to let him down. He's not going to pick up his 9th win of the year. But they just find a way. They reach to the bottom of the bag, pull out that little magic potion, and for about a year, everyone has, I guess 11 months, because the last month Cleveland's been terrible. But everyone kind of made the joke that people made about the Chiefs last year, that they used that devil magic. People were saying the same thing about Cleveland because they had this negative run differential the past year, but somehow they kept floating above 500 and finding ways to win games. The Tigers took all of their little voodoo magic last night and used it for themselves, waved that magic wand, and somehow ended up tying that game up, and then just decimate Cleveland in extra innings. Trey Sweeney hits a 3-run bomb. Riley Green hits a bomb in extra innings, and they just assault the team in the 10th inning. And Cleveland has no chance. The Tigers fans filled up that ballpark. I thought by the time it got tied up, I don't know if you felt the same way, Kyle, but once it went to extras, I kind of just had the feeling like you can't give the Tigers that sliver of hope or they're going to take advantage of it. And sure enough, they did.
Especially in the way that Cleveland has been playing as of late. The bottom of the 9th, I was worried, I'll say. But once it got to extras, like you mentioned, it's like, okay, yeah.
It's over.
Because the Tigers were going to lose that game yesterday.
They should have.
They should have lost, and it was just like, it's Cleveland. We're not going to sweep Cleveland, right? Like, we already wasted this Skubal start. Like, it just kind of felt inevitable. And like to your point about the Skubal start being forgotten, kind of hilarious. Like the game gets over and you're like, it felt like Tarek Skubal pitched 6 hours ago.
Right. So much had happened in the last 2 innings.
It's just, I love that the magic is there because our whole point last season or coming into the offseason was like, this is not repeatable. True, it's not repeatable because the Tigers have just become an actual good baseball team that doesn't use voodoo magic to win, but then it still comes into play. That fairy dust, There's a little magic potion that gets thrown around every once in a while.
Yeah, when they need it most, they can still pull out the magic wand and make this kind of stuff happen. And that's exactly what we saw Sunday to sweep Cleveland, which felt so good because this is the team that's had the Tigers' number for the past year and a half. And it felt like these teams were a lot more even than the win-loss record said against this Guardians team, but to finally get them, and now the series on the season is, now they're winning the series 4-3, so it's not like they've dominated Cleveland so far this year, but they sweep them, and to see this team kind of, I don't know if I'd call it self-imploding, but spiraling out of control, certainly, at the hands of the other teams, and they just
beautiful
can't pull
to watch.
anything out. It really is. I love it.
It's almost like every year when the Bears do this, every single year. It feels good every time.
I almost started to pity the Bears last year, to be honest.
No.
I really
Never.
did. I'll never pity the
no
Packers.
way.
I'll never pity the Vikings because I hate that fan base. But the Bears I almost felt bad for because the Bears fans, they just knew last year. They were like, I know, dude, it's just miserable. Like,
You're right. That is true.
I
Maybe
felt
the fans
bad
a
for
little
them.
bit.
But Cleveland fans, no, to hell with the Guardians fans, no, man. You guys suck.
That's what happened last
I cannot stand anything about that organization.
And that's the part that I did this on Remember That today. As like awesome as the series was, it's like a little deflating that it's just like we have a 13-game lead in the division.
Right?
You know how much cooler it would have felt if it was like last year where it's like this is a tight race in the division. We sweep them after they've owned us for the last year.
I mean, you'll take the wins.
Absolutely, we'll take the wins, and absolutely, it still felt awesome. But it was just a little bit like, man, we legit could have got swept by this team, and it just wouldn't do anything.
Well, under normal circumstances, you get a 13-game lead in a division this early in the season, and you inevitably take your foot off the gas. It'd be the natural thing to do. The natural human reaction to having that big of a lead is you don't have as much urgency. This team has not ran into that at all this season.
Right. And it helps that the other teams just blow, too.
in the AL
Like they're
Central.
trying to put their foot on the gas, and it's just like a second brake pedal.
Well, hell, man, everybody in the American League, it feels like that right now. Not just the AL Central. Like
other than Houston.
Houston's coming on strong, but the AL East seems like a total joke right now. Nobody really wants to establish themselves as a great team. The Yankees are falling right now. Texas has the great, rotation, but they can't hit right now.
Yeah, they have a long ways to go before they get in. Seattle's been good. Like the West has been pretty impressive, but
nobody's been as impressive as the Detroit Tigers.
No, not even close.
989-837-6125. Hey, bright smiles start at Scott Family Dental, where comfort care and clean teeth come at a standard. Locally owned by Brandon Scott and native of the Great Lakes Bay region, the business is family-focused. They treat patients like kids of their own, no matter how old they are. From routine checkups to whitenings, crowns, and more, they've got all the tools and the gentle touch to keep your smile shining. Friendly staff, modern tech, and zero judgment, even if it's been a while since your last visit. So go ahead and show off those pearly whites. Scott Family Dental has your back and your teeth. The 11 o'clock hour coming up here on the Ben Bosscher Show. More Tigers on the way, and we still haven't done our stock exchange, a Monday tradition here on the Ben Bosscher Show. We still got some news to get to, lock of the day, and of course, guessing Colin's open. Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
For 100 years, Forward Energy has been more than just a home heat and fuel provider. We've been a part of your community, and you've been a part of our family through every storm, every season, and every moment. We've been right here, keeping you warm and safe. As your hometown energy provider, we deliver more than just propane. We deliver peace of mind with reliable service, quality you can count on, and a commitment to always being there when you need us most. Forward Energy, 100 years strong, fueled by family, powered by community.
A beautiful yard increases both the value of your home and the quality of your life. Commercially, landscaping creates a positive impression of your professionalism and commitment to community, customers, and employees. Cervinsky Sod has been creating and maintaining outdoor spaces for 56 years. Whether your project is residential or commercial, the team at Cervinsky Sod Services will work with you to build and meet budgets and finish the job with top quality and in a timely manner. To get a quote, call 989-835-4810 or visit CervinskySodService.com.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Health. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com.
I'm Ben Bosscher, and here's what I think. I think replay should be taken out of basketball entirely. I think 2 super conferences would fix college football. I think the best football, basketball, and baseball players of all time are currently playing. I think the day the Lions win the Super Bowl is going to be the greatest day of my life. I think Monty Williams sabotaged the Pistons on purpose, and you can't convince me otherwise. I think Jim Harbaugh is one of the best coaches of all time, but most definitely cheated, got caught, and ran away. And I think you should tune into the Ben Bosscher Show, fueled by Forward Energy, weekdays 9 to noon on 100.9 The Mitt if you agree with anything I just said.
From the hometown heroes to the college legends to the pros on Sunday, 100.9 The Mitt is your home for wall-to-wall play-by-play coverage. High school football, basketball, and hockey.
Region champions for the first time in school history.
Michigan State football and basketball.
Touchdown, MSU!
The NFL, Thursday, Sunday, and Monday night primetime games. And don't think we forgot about your hometown team. The Great Lakes Loons.
That ball's over and out of here.
100.9 The Mitt.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes. That'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Michigan. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
From the Blazy Electric Studios, this is Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. WLUN, Pinconning Bay City, Saginaw, Midland.
989-837-6125. Ben Bosscher here. This is the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt, live on YouTube as well. If you're watching there, please go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a long way. This Tigers team, man, they can win in a handful of different ways, and we saw that this weekend. We've seen this team get into shootouts. We've seen this team get into pitchers' duels. We've seen this team do everything in between. What happens more often than not, though, is the Tigers end up with a win and a green W in the column. So you made this point to me yesterday, Kyle, last night via text message. The Tigers can win in a handful of different ways. So I'm not trying to steal this take from you. I just thought it was good, and I wanted to bring it up here to open up the 11 o'clock hour.
Well, and I think it's important, too, because with what we just talked about how they won in 2024. They were the best team in baseball in the second half. Maybe not the best, but the hottest team in baseball, the team that no one wanted to play. And they were doing it in ways that you didn't know. Like, they just come back and won.
Impossible.
Like, why was the reason they were winning? It was a tough question to answer. Well, this season, why are they winning? There's 1,000 different answers, right? They win because they have really good pitching. The Tarek Skubal games, they don't lose. The Casey Mize games, they are kind of getting to that point where they don't lose. I think it's 5 straight Mize starts they've won. They have the bats. They have the depth. Like, you just go back to the games this weekend against a team that they were unable to beat in the playoffs last year and unable to beat throughout the season in 2024. The bats explode after a comeback gritty win last night. Saturday, the no offense win. 1-0. Up 1-0 the whole game. The bullpen has been shaky over the last couple weeks, but man, they stepped up this weekend, and you feel really good. And then on Friday, they just get off to the lead at the beginning of the game, and they hold on to it. It was kind of a no-offense win as well, but
a bullpen day, though.
And a bullpen day, exactly. So it's just, when you think about it in terms of a playoff series, because it's fun to just be like, wow, the Tigers are winning a ton of games right now. And I know Cleveland is not as good as they typically are. But to me, beating a team like Cleveland that has had your number 3 different ways, that's how you win games in the playoffs. It's not sustainable to do it in the magical voodoo way that they have in the past. And that's why you feel much more confident about the Tigers in a playoff series right now than you did last year, which is obvious because they're 25 games above 500 or whatever. But still.
And it's the first time they've swept anyone since the end of May. Which is crazy to think because this is a team that wins basically every series that they play in, except that Nationals one, and has such a big lead in the AL Central where you'd think, well, they'd had to have swept someone in June, right? No, they didn't. They haven't swept anyone since San Francisco. Yeah, it's so strange. They haven't. Well, they lost that series against the Sox, the White Sox. They lost that series against.
They split with them, right? 2-2.
Yes, you're right. Sorry, they lost the series against Cincinnati. They lost a series against Tampa. I guess I've lost more series than I.
They kind of have recently.
Yeah. But they got off to such a big lead at the beginning of the season that it hasn't really seemed to matter that much. Do you remember during the Lions season when they were beating teams so senseless that it was like, well, the game's over at like 140? There's some sense of that right now to where like the season's kind of over in a way to where you've wrapped up the division. I kind of get that same feeling. They've wrapped up the division. No one's coming back from 13 games. Maybe to a wild card spot, but the Tigers aren't going to fall off in a way where they're going to allow a team to get back into this divisional race because they can't go on losing streaks. They've got Tarek Skubal. They've got Casey Mize. They don't seem to lose those games anymore either. I think Casey Mize has established himself as the number 2 guy in this rotation, despite Jack Flaherty technically being the number 2 guy on the depth chart, but that's still a little shaky feeling there. They're just not capable of going on these long losing streaks, especially considering in the AL Central, competition's not very good, and they're playing these teams, more than any other team in baseball. So it's always like a chance to just grow that division lead even more.
Well, and that's why this week, these 2 series I'm really circling.
Tampa and Seattle?
Yeah, these are 2 wildcard teams right now. They own the same record at 49 and 41, or Seattle's 48 and 42, but they hold the 2 and 3 wildcard spots right now. So potential matchups in the playoffs, but also these are the type of teams that you have to start realizing, like, these are the teams you're going to play in the playoffs, and it's the Nationals, Reds stuff, White Sox. Yeah, they're important games for sure, and you use them to build momentum. When you're playing against these teams, you got to treat these as true playoff series. Like, how can you beat these teams? And the Tigers are capable of beating teams in multiple different ways, which is something you absolutely could not say a year ago.
2 more national TV games coming up this weekend. On Friday, it's Apple TV Plus with Mize on the mound, and then Saturday at 1 is MLB Network. That's a Scooble Day.
I believe tonight's game is Fox Sports 1 as well.
Correct.
Yeah, it is.
And since the start of the show, Jack Flaherty was scheduled to start on ESPN, and we were kind of hesitant because MLB and the sports books had no starter. Well, Flaherty on ESPN has been now pushed to tomorrow. So either a Kiter Montero or
I think Montero return happens
bullpen
today,
day,
yeah.
something along those lines. Flaherty tomorrow, Olsen on Wednesday, and then Mize back on the mound on Friday. Look how much the Tigers are on national TV, man. Everybody wants a glimpse of this gritty Tigers team as of right now. So
can't blame them.
Earlier today, we asked the question, do you feel comfortable with Casey Mize as the number 2? Like, are you comfortable saying Casey Mize is the number 2 player in this rotation? Because I am. I think he's surpassed Flaherty. I think he's surpassed Olsen, mostly because Olsen was just hurt, and Mize got hurt too, but he's just now established himself as a guy where, hey, if he is out there, the Tigers are more than likely going to win the game. He has 9 wins already this year and a 2.63 ERA. You start comparing that to some other guys across the American League for playoff teams, and all of a sudden you're feeling pretty good. Houston might have a better second guy. The Rangers probably have a better second guy, but you look around the rest of the league, like the Yankees, Tampa Bay, Seattle. Casey Mize is a better second option than all of these teams have. So we pegged to the question, are you comfortable calling Casey Mize the second best guy on the team? So we'll get to a couple texts here. Again, 989-837-6125. He's the major reason that the Tigers are in first place. That is from Ray. He's one of the reasons. I don't know if I call him the major reason.
Is there even a major reason?
Feels like the Tigers have too many reasons for one to stick out, unless you want to just
like
say
genuinely
Tarek
even
Skubal.
But can
That's
you even
one
say
every
that?
5 days.
Right. They still win all the other all the games too.
Especially like I don't know, maybe Riley Green reason number 1, but I don't think AJ Hinch has a case. There's too many reasons to say there's one specific.
There's too many options. None of them stick out.
It's a complete team. Let's see what Reese Olson can do before saying anything drastic. That's from Mike.
That's a fair point, right? Looked solid in his comeback. He's been one of the more consistent pitchers for the Tigers over the last year or two. Like, doesn't really go through the multiple starts of being down.
Russ says, I'd trade within the division to get Joe Ryan. Give him a contract extension since the Twins are going to sell. That doesn't happen very much, does it?
Yeah, I was just going to say. I mean, it's just not something that really happens, especially during the season. Would be cool for sure.
I don't think the Twins are like, hey, Tigers, you want some help? I don't think that's going to happen. Finally, I think we can start calling Casey Mize pitcher number 2. Reese and Flaherty can be solid 3 and 4 starters. Yeah, my issue is Flaherty's being paid as the 2. And with how penny pinching this organization has shown us that they're going to be, it just doesn't sit well with me right now. I'm not all that opposed to testing him out of the pen if push comes to shove. If they are going to add another, they're going to add another starter.
They don't have starters.
That's why if they add another one at the deadline, which I don't think is off the table. Deadline's 3 weeks away. I don't think it's off the table for them to have another starter. Let's monitor these next few Flaherty starts.
Right.
Yes, and Mize should be on the All-Star roster. That's from John.
Hey.
Not John Vicari.
Oh, darn it. Yeah, I mean, John would never say something that nice.
There's probably just too many pitchers across the American League to legitimately give Casey Mize a start.
Right, and every team has to get one. And
stupid rule.
But
stupid rule.
You kind of talked about this at the beginning of the show. Like, Javi Baez, who gets the All-Star nod, is the big story of the Tigers this year. Casey Mize making a case, man. That was a guy, remember the preseason? How we were talking about Mize? We didn't know if he was going to make the rotation if Cobb was healthy.
We didn't know if McKinstry was going to be on the team. We didn't know if Spencer Torkelson was going to be on the team. We didn't know if Javier Baez was going to be around. And again, we didn't know if Mize was going to be in the rotation. Every single one of these guys. And it speaks to the development of this organization. This is one of the healthiest organizations in sports, let alone Major League Baseball. Number one farm system, all these top 60 guys, these top 100 guys now in Erie. They all got moved up yesterday. You have the best record in baseball. They're just finding these guys off the streets and turning them into the legit bullpen guys, even guys that looked dead like Javi and Torkelson and Mize. They just find ways to give these players and this team belief in themselves.
Yeah.
And I think that is maybe the most underappreciated part about all of this. This team just doesn't stop grinding and putting in the work, and the results are showing up. It has been fantastic to watch. One more. We've got Brian that says, need to acquire a number 2. So does not believe Casey Mize is a number 2 guy. Hey, if Casey's your number 3, that is a good sign. If they can add a guy.
Yeah, that's also like the best staff in baseball if that happens.
Correct. That would, 1,000%. 989-837-6125. Hey, it is summer. Sun's been out. Your dream lawn? Yeah. Cervinsky sod can, in fact, roll that out. Literally. Locally grown, top quality sod that turns patchy yards into backyard showstoppers. And they've been doing it for over 50 years. They are, in fact, experts. Whether you're fixing a rough spot or redoing the whole yard, Cervinsky delivers lush green perfection. Fast, friendly, and farm fresh, because your grass should be greener right now. Don't settle for Increase the value of your home. Get the lawn your neighbors will envy with Cervinsky sod. Hey, we put it on the back end of the show today. It is a Monday tradition, the stock market exchange. Coming up when we come back, it's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
A successful holiday weekend for Great Lakes, taking 2 of 3 at home against the top team in the Midwest League, the West Michigan Whitecaps. The Loons took 4 of 6 overall, with the first 3 games being in West Michigan. It was a fun series filled with 5 top 100 prospects. A lot of offense as well from Great Lakes, including this big-time grand slam on Saturday night from Zaire Hope.
1-0. Hope swings, hard hit, in the air to left, Murr, back to the wall, and gone! Zaire Hope's third against the Whitecaps this season, the second in July, and a grand slam that makes it 7-2.
Loons are right back here at Dow Diamond for 6 more starting Tuesday night, hosting the Lansing Lugnuts. First pitch, 7:05. Pregame coverage starting at 6:50 here on the Mitt.
In times of financial uncertainty, how can you stay on track? Call on someone who's invested in your success. I'm Kevin Spencer, your Midland Edward Jones financial advisor. At Edward Jones, we believe in building a complete picture of your financial life, including your unique goals and passions, so we can help you work towards achieving what's most important to you.
Contact Kevin Spencer today at 832-8428. 832-8428. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Member SIPC.
Looking for the perfect golf getaway? Tee up at Sandy Ridge Golf Course, Midland's hidden gem. Whether you're a scratch golfer or just out for fun, Sandy Ridge offers a beautifully maintained 18-hole course, friendly staff, and unbeatable rates, plus a brand new clubhouse. Book your tee time today at sandyridgegolfcourse.com or call 989-631-6010. Sandy Ridge Golf Course, where great golf meets pure Michigan beauty.
Something is amiss at Dow Diamond. The award-winning True Crime Night returns for the Great Lakes Loons on Thursday, July 10th. And this time, our beloved golden bobblehead is missing. It's an evening filled with suspense and intrigue. Join the investigation to uncover the mystery and help solve the case of who framed Lou E. Lou. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
When it comes to a gun suicide attempt, all it takes is a moment.
My son, Ricky, took his life by the use of a firearm. It broke me, and I contemplated suicide. My grandson, I was gonna have to be here for him. I still own my firearm. I keep it in a safe because I want to keep my grandson and myself safe.
Store your guns, locked, unloaded, and away from ammo. Hear more safe stories at endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by Brady and the Ad Council.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
Ep25. All right, we've got a tradition every single Monday. It is the stock market exchange.
You know what? I'm not leaving.
I'm not leaving. The stock market.
The show goes on.
By the way, real quick, obviously that's from The Wolf of Wall Street. I watched another Leo movie last night. Have you ever seen Don't Look Up on Netflix?
Yeah, I have seen that.
Really good. That was
good.
my second time watching
Kind
it.
of
I watched
polarizing movie. A lot of people really disliked it. A lot of people really liked it.
Well, it's because of the satire. They're poking fun at.
Well, in a political movie, yes.
A political movie, but they're also just like making a joke of all of it without blatantly telling you they're making a joke out of it.
Right.
Like if you can't laugh along with it, I don't think you get the point of the movie. Really good though. Loaded cast.
I watched Leo Blood Diamond a couple weeks ago.
I don't know if I've seen
good.
that one.
Really good.
Anyway. All right. Monday morning stock exchange. After the weekend, what are we selling? What are we buying our stock on? I'll go first. I'm not going to do a full sell here. But I'm going to sell some of my Max Clark stock, just a little bit, because he just gets called up. This would be the terrible time to buy because it's like, hey, this guy's coming up. Great first half of the year in the high A level. Now he's moving up to Erie. I'm just going to soft sell just a little bit. So I'm crash out in the dugout, throw the bat, breaking things.
Is it the crash out that
Diamond.
is causing the sell?
It's a little bit of both. But I also think this is just a good time to sell the Max Clark stock with him being called up. Obviously, the stock goes way up after he gets called up. So a natural sell 12 hours later, I feel like is pretty good.
You're starting to catch on.
Thanks. But I also like after watching him, Briceno, and McGonigle all here this week in the Tigers' top 3 prospects, in terms of who's scariest in the box, I feel like Clark would rank 3rd of those guys.
Yeah, but that's like known knowledge.
Well, it is now. I don't think that's known forever. Like, usually the guy who's number 1 prospect is thought of as
But
the
he's
best
number
hitter.
1 prospect for more than just his bat.
I
Whereas
know.
like McGonigle is like this crazy all-around hitter, and Briceno obviously has nuts power.
Yeah, I'm just relaying what I saw. That's all. For anyone who didn't
That's
make
fair.
it out to the game.
So here's my take on it. When you went up to him to ask him for the picture,
Not
like, what
a
was his
picture with
response?
me, to be clear, for our
Well, yeah,
listeners.
yeah, not a fanboy. Got to put that out there.
Yeah. No signatures
But
from here.
when you told him to go take that picture, like what did he say to you? Did he say for sure? A head nod?
Yeah,
you got it.
Something like that. I was like, "Hey, are you still good to take that picture with Josue and Kevin and Zaire before the game?" He was like, "Yeah, that works." And then, but the problem was we ended up getting pretty delayed, and then we were waiting on someone to take the picture because we were just waiting on one person, and then their manager got kind of mad at me. Not mad at me, but mad at the situation and kind of took it out of me a little bit. He's
Their
like, these guys
manager
got to
got
get
mad a good amount.
It's like, these guys got to get warmed up. Why are they just sitting here? And I was like, I know. We're waiting on someone. He's like, when are we doing this? I was supposed to be 6:40. And I was like, I wish I had an answer for you.
He was upset all weekend, man. Ejected twice.
Yeah. Yesterday was totally justified, though. The guy got hit square in the back, and the umpire was like, foul ball.
And it was like in the ninth inning, I think.
What?
Yeah, that was crazy. Okay, I have a buy here. I'm actually buying Colt Keith stock.
Oh, I love this.
Now, I don't know if it's like the greatest time in the world, too. Maybe if I would have done it like a month ago, it would have been the time.
It's a long
But
term.
ever since Parker Meadows came back and they put him in the leadoff spot for like a week, and then they were like, screw this. Colt Keith, you're going to hit leadoff against righties now. He's been great, man. His last 20 games, an 841 OPS, couple homers with 8 ribbies, walking a good amount as well with a 360 on base percentage, nearly hitting 300 average-wise. Just a lot better at-bats from Colt Keith. And I feel like we've talked about this all show with the amount of Tigers you can give love to. We don't even bring up Colt Keith once.
Well, Colt Keith...
He has become forgotten about on this team for really, like, no reason.
Well, I know the reason behind it. It's because
Why,
they paid.
He's paid or whatever.
Because they paid him early, and it was just weird. I still think.
Okay, but why?
I still think
why
it was
are we
weird that
only
they
bring
did
up,
that.
Why do we only bring up the contract when he's not playing great? Why are we not bringing it up right now?
Because once you sign this, like the fact that they gave it, I'm just saying it. Like It was weird that they paid him of all people prior to him ever playing a game for the Tigers.
Is it weird? Or did they realize we should have done this with Riley Green or Spencer Torkelson, so let's not make this mistake again?
Yeah, but why Colt Keith? Why did they look at this guy
because
and just
he mashed in the minors. He mashed harder than these other guys have. At least, okay, in AA and AAA.
But was never viewed as like a top 10 prospect the way that Tork and
Dude,
Green were. And I get it. It was different.
Rankings.
It was different. I just still think it's weird, okay? That's all. And he's always just going to be looked at a little bit differently because of that.
Right.
He's making more than Torkelson. He's making more than Green this year. That's weird to me. The entire way that the arbitration system works
it's more of an MLB thing
so
rather
dumb.
than a Colt Keith versus those guys thing.
There's a collective bargaining agreement that ends after this season. Don't be surprised. Don't be surprised if there's a little lockout. Because it's ridiculous that Riley Green is making an average salary of $800,000 this year for being a two-time All-Star.
Yeah,
it's absurd.
Honestly.
But come on. It is absurd.
It is. No, I agree. It's very different than other leagues, for sure.
Okay, I'll buy Caitlin Clark stock for the 100th straight week.
I was
basically.
waiting for it.
Yeah, still hasn't played. 5 straight games they've missed. She's missed because of that groin injury. Just waiting for her to come back. As soon as she does, that stock's skyrocketing again. I'll just keep taking it while she's out.
That's good. I like that. I was hoping you would do it as well. I have a 4th of July sell. Just based off of this weekend.
So do I.
Is this the right time to sell your stock on hot dogs?
I don't
How
eat
much
hot
more
dogs.
hot dogs are you going to consume post 4th of July?
I don't eat hot dogs, period.
Oh, you're just out on hot dogs.
I haven't eaten a hot dog in over a decade, I don't think. Probably.
What?
Yeah.
So you just don't mess with them?
No.
That's fair.
7th grade, our teacher showed us a video of I don't even know.
Well, yeah.
Something about how they were made.
How they're made, yeah.
I don't think I've eaten one since. And that was... No, I'm not doing the math right now. I don't know. That was like 10, 15 years ago. And I don't think I've eaten a hot dog since then. And now that I've gone this long without eating none, I think I'm just good.
You're
I'm
committed
not,
to it,
not
yeah.
missing them at this point.
Okay,
so I don't like hot dogs.
Us normal American human beings that ate hot dogs this weekend on 4th of July, I think it's a good time to sell. Because this is probably the most hot doggy weekend there is. You just have a lot of hot dogs, man. I think I probably had 6 hot dogs this weekend.
I'm selling my stock on the hot dog eating contest. That's one of the ones I wrote down. I'm convinced no one actually watches this.
I didn't watch it. It is just at the worst time, though. It's at noon on 4th of July.
Exactly.
Like,
no one actually
time.
watches this. You log onto your phone at 12:30 and you see Joey Chestnut won. Cool. Did he set the record? Nope. Did he hit his over? Kinda.
I don't know. Yeah.
Pushed.
Maybe.
Did I win money? Doesn't appear so. All right, moving on and not thinking about this again until a year from now. So we were kind of aligned on that one. Can I sell something else from 4th of July weekend?
Yeah, go for it.
I don't like Bluey. She kind of freaks me out. It was red, white, and bluey weekend here at the ballpark. Kids, I loved seeing the
Freaks you
reaction.
out.
I loved seeing the reaction from the kids who had the meet and greet. They were so beyond happy to see Bluey. That put a little smile on my face. But Bluey herself kind of freaked me out. I wasn't a big Bluey
I didn't even know
person.
Bluey was a girl.
Neither did I.
I honestly didn't even know what Bluey was until last year's Bluey Day.
Yeah.
Legit had no clue, and then I didn't realize the aura that Bluey had.
Oh, I had another one written down. I'm selling my stock on the word aura. It's overused, and I need to stop saying it. Society says it too much, so I came up with something else. I'm done with the word aura. Now if someone has that kind of energy, they've got gravity. I'm going to start saying that. That person's got gravity. They've got some gravitational pull to them instead of
I can't
aura.
wait till you start overusing that so hard to try to get everyone else to say it.
Oh, it's already started, my friend. It's already started.
It's got Okay, I don't mind it, honestly.
I just realized the word aura is a little overused now. It's just
That's how every slang is, though.
Yep. So I'm changing the ways. I'm selling my aura stock and I'm buying gravity stock. Because at least you can prove gravity's real. Aura's just kind of like a vibe.
Okay, how about I have a sports one for you, since this has gone a little bit off the rails.
Okay.
I'm buying Cleveland Cavaliers stock.
Okay.
I always like to look at this. I'm looking at NFL, NBA teams. This is perfect time to buy, dude.
Okay.
You got to realize.
Make your case.
Look, all the teams that have been talked about all offseason. Oh, the Rockets. Well, the Thunder, they're obvious favorites. You know, I'd bet on them.
I know where you're going.
The Knicks. Oh, we're going with the Knicks. They're now the new favorite in the Eastern Conference. Oh, look at these trades that are happening left and right.
Well, look at the Pistons not doing anything.
Right. The Cavs is the team that just played it cool, traded for Lonzo Ball.
I love Lonzo.
Lost Ty Jerome. Cool, you're replacing with Lonzo. And they're running it back in a team that was the 1 seed in the East last year. Now, I don't think anyone thought they were the favorite to go to the finals, but they were one of them. And in the Eastern Conference that's going to blow next year, they're deciding to run it back. Garland might be banged out to start the season. But I like buying the Cavs as the best team in the East.
I would like it even more if they traded Garland and got something in return and let Lonzo run point.
See, why is that always a trade Garland? Like, why is everyone wanting to do that?
Because Garland and Mitchell are a combined 12'0", and I don't think you can win an NBA Finals with that being your backcourt.
What's the height of the point guard
Lonzo's 6'6".
that they will likely play
Lonzo's
in the conference
6'6".
finals? Who's bringing up Lonzo? I'm saying Jalen Brunson is small as well.
Yeah, but they have one of those guys. The Cavs have two of them playing at all times, or not at all times, but one of them playing at all times and then closing together. It's just scary, you know? I understand people who are wanting to move off from that. I like Lonzo.
Look, as a short basketball player myself, I will not stand for the small guy slander.
Okay. Noted.
All right, what else you got?
I'm buying Sam Laporta stock. He came in at 94 on this NFL.com top 100, voted on upon the players. Comes in at 94, down from last year. He was in the 80s. I think next year he's higher than 94. So I'm buying stock, and we'll check in on this a year from now. Kind of a down year. Had a little bit to do with the injuries, but I think it had more to do with just J-Mo taking a huge step up. I think they're going to work Laporta in a lot more this year with Johnny Moore kind of heading up the passing game a little bit. I think they want to get him involved as much as possible.
Yeah, I like that buy. That's a good one. My last one, I'm selling Saquon Barkley stock.
Great.
We've been talking about him on the show all day, which is kind of funny, but I had this planned out. Saquon to me, and this is maybe more of a fantasy thing, just because the guy who goes number one overall or was the repeat number one guy never, ever repeats.
I hate drafting 1.01. There's too much pressure.
I have already told the people in my league, because we haven't done draft order yet, for the redraft, if I get the first pick, I will take Jahmyr Gibbs. I am that confident. Saquon will not repeat as RB1. It won't happen. And I'm seeing a lot of push about, but it's the easiest repeatable season ever. Like, the Eagles' offensive line is great. Their offense is built around him. It just doesn't happen. So I will assume that Gibbs will be the guy that takes him over, and I will not take Saquon Barkley.
Sometimes I think, like, everyone just overthinks it, and you should just take Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson 1.01 or whatever your first pick is. Just have the player who scores the most points in the league. Just draft him in the first round and worry about the rest later.
The first overall pick?
The first might be a little bit aggressive, but it's like a sure thing rather than a swing. You know what I mean? I have one more, and it's buy.
It's buy?
I hate this. I hate this so much that I'm doing this. I'm buying Drake stock. Like the rapper, Drake. I don't know why I deserved a round of applause for that, but...
No, that was a round of applause for Drake.
Oh.
For finally earning the respect of Ben Bosscher.
Dropped a single in a preview for his Iceman album that's coming out at some point. Yeah, that song goes.
Slapper.
So good. There are some lines in that made me like...
See, this is a good bit for the people that don't know. Ben is like the biggest Kendrick Lamar guy ever.
Yeah, despised
And I'm
Drake.
for sure one of the biggest Drake guys ever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just, I'm a big fan.
That song was too good, man. What did I miss? And first he comes out all aggressive, and he's like, what I miss? I'm still the top guy. I'm still the top dog. I'm still Drizzy. I'm still the guy who steals your girl.
Relax.
And then the beat switches to a little bit more slow, and he's like, what did I miss? Everyone switched up on me. Like, you guys were all my homies, and I missed something. It was such a good song. And then he had the line about the Florida Gators. You know which one I'm talking about? That one's nuts.
Iceman coming out soon, man.
All right. With that being said, when we come back, we'll hit the news. It's the Ben Bosscher Show on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It is the Scholar Athlete of the Month, proudly presented by Fisher Companies here on Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt. This month's recipient is Logan Snyder from Bullet Creek High School. With a 3.94 GPA, Logan's a member of the varsity golf team, revitalizing a program that was dormant when he was a freshman 4 years ago. Logan great at golf and in the classroom, and also volunteers, including at the Midland Miracle Fields.
I love working with those kids, and it's always so much fun to see them getting to play the game we all get to love to play. Just getting to see them going up to bat, hitting the ball, no matter how far it goes, and they're just super excited. It just warms my heart every time.
Logan will be attending Ferris State in the fall and plans to study in their PGA Golf Management program. To hear the full interview and nominate a local athlete for our scholarship program, visit 1009themid.com.
At Scott Family Dental, they don't just care for your teeth, they care for you. Dr. Brandon Scott, a Michigan State graduate and Midland native, specializes in preventative, cosmetic, and restorative care. But what truly sets him apart is his commitment to building personal connections with every patient.
I value my patients as unique individuals and strive to make the best care decisions for you. I will always be honest and open regarding your care. That is my promise to you and anyone I treat.
Scott Family Dental. Let's bring out your best smile together.
Hey, did you guys catch anything yet?
Not a thing.
Bummer, neither have we. I'm actually just about to head into town. I'm going to go into Higher Standards Automotive. They got this award-winning service department with amazing technicians and this large parts department in case I want to fix it myself. They got the part there.
Whatever.
No, I'm serious, man. It's out there.
Yeah, just like when you tried to convince me Bigfoot was real.
Ray?
Bigfoot's behind me, isn't he?
Yeah, we got it. Run! Get out! Stop into Higher Standards Automotive, North Eastman Road in Midland, right past the mall.
Since 2007, the Michigan Baseball Foundation has invested over $1.8 million into our communities, supporting over 350 projects across 14 Michigan counties. From restoring Alma Little League fields to creating nature-based classrooms at the Chippewa Nature Center and enhancing accessibility at the middle of the Mitt Miracle Field, MBF is making a real difference. Every ticket to a Great Lakes Loons game helps fund these initiatives. Join us in building a stronger, more vibrant community. Learn more at MichiganBaseballFoundation.org.
Something is amiss at Dow Diamond. The award-winning True Crime Night returns for the Great Lakes Loons on Thursday, July 10th. And this time, our beloved golden bobblehead is missing. It's an evening filled with suspense and intrigue. Join the investigation to uncover the mystery and help solve the case of who framed Lou E. Lou. This is the Great Lakes Loons, everyone's hometown team.
Hey, I'm Ben Bosscher.
And I'm Kyle Sandel.
And the two of us are live every weekday on 100.9 The Mitt at 9 a.m. until noon, giving you opinions on the teams that you care about the most.
The Lions, Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, those teams.
And a whole lot more. Whether we're breaking down a game from the night before, debating the biggest news from the day, or doing a draft or spread picks, we're always having fun. I mean, come on, it's our job to talk about sports. How could we not be having fun?
So if the big games aren't enough for you, if you're a real diehard fan, this show is going to be perfect for you. You can count on us to be your morning sports outlet every day.
The Ben Bosscher Show with Ben Bosscher and Kyle Sandel on 100.9 The Mitt.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Michigan. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the MHSAA and the Michigan Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
All right, welcome back in. It's the Ben Bosscher Show live on 100.9 The Mitt. It is time to hit the news.
The Mitt's Morning Catch.
All right, Kyle, what is going on in the sports world today? Kind of feels like a slow Monday.
Let me tell you. It does feel like a slow Monday. It's that time of year, man. Like 4th of July.
The Monday after the 4th of July. I mean, the Monday after the 4th of July is a tough one. It can't be as worse
I was going to say, is it worst day of the year?
No, I don't think it's the worst day. The
I
Monday
have a worst day of the year.
No, the Monday you're back from Christmas, New Year's vacation.
Yes.
It doesn't even count. It counts in no way, shape, or form.
January 2nd is the worst day of all time.
Yes. 1000% agree with you.
Because you have nothing to look forward to. At least like right now, at least it's summertime still. It's nice out. You can go do stuff still. January 2nd is the worst day ever because you just have doom and gloom for the next 3 months.
At least you have football, though. College football playoffs, NFL playoffs.
That is very true.
That's a fair thing to have when it's getting dark at 5 o'clock.
That it is. Okay,
I
let's
think
talk about the news.
Hold on. No, I'm not done with this. Some
Okay.
people, I think might say Valentine's Day could be the worst day of the year, depending on that person's situation. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's a whack holiday, but like...
It's a made-up holiday.
Worst day of the year?
Ooh.
That seems far. What, you think
It
of
might
something
be.
else?
It might be.
No, it's not. This day is a bad one, though. It's definitely one of the bad days.
Especially when the 4th of July is on a Friday. Or
Yeah.
it would be worse if the 4th of July is on a Thursday and you basically get a full 4-day weekend and then back to work on the Monday. But hey, I'm having a good time. Tigers won. Tarek Skubal picked up a win. They sweep the Guardians and we get to talk about it for 3 hours.
Today's the best day,
Yeah,
actually.
I don't know. I'm having fun.
Okay, we have a little bit of breaking news happening during the show. Nothing local or anything. But in the NBA, big 3-team trade. John Collins, who had been a name maybe discussed in Pistons trade talks, is headed to the Clippers. Norman Powell's headed to the Heat, who was a really good bench scorer a season ago. And then the Jazz, who are losing John Collins, get Kevin Love, who's old, Kyle Anderson, who's
Good analysis.
slow, and a second-round pick.
So let's all together do our best Trajan Langdon impression for this offseason. Put your thumb up like this. Give yourself a nice big thumbs up. Then put it on the seat that you're currently sitting in and sit on it. That is what Trajan Langdon has done this offseason. Nothing.
See, all I did was fall asleep on screen, so... We're not out on Trajan Langdon, Ben. We got to chill.
I didn't say that. I just said he's done nothing this offseason, which is true.
He has made 2 signings.
We're not getting into that again.
Yeah,
I can't. I just can't.
Big news as well in the video game world.
Yes.
The college football NCAA 26 coming out today. Obviously, it was revitalized last year. I really enjoyed playing that game. I think I played it as recent as like a week ago.
Here's my game plan.
And it's back, new one today.
Here's my game plan for the day, okay? We're going to get off the air at noon. I'm going to put together some YouTube stuff, put together some short form stuff. I'm going to go home. Actually, I'm going to go to the store, get a new Xbox controller because I'm not a big gamer these days. But I'm going to go to the store, get my new Xbox controller, get some batteries, go pick up a pizza, sit down, skip the gym, and play college football the rest of the day until the Tigers start. I can't wait.
That sounds like a fun day.
Bryce Underwood about to be a Heisman contender, first year. Don't worry,
he's gonna be in
Aiden
this
Childs will
game
be
now.
too. Aiden Childs will be too. Don't worry.
True. I never did a Michigan or Michigan State rebuild last year.
Too busy making the
Just
Chippewas
kinda
a
boring.
glorified Power
Yeah.
4 team.
My first one
non-power
actually was
team.
UTEP.
Oh, right, of course, UTEP. That's the team
And then
I've
I
always
did
wanted to
CMU.
rebuild as well.
It's fun to do a random one like that. Like everyone does CMU or Michigan State. Like,
You know what'd be funny? I'm going
Boring.
to take over Western and purposely run their program into the ground.
I like that. That's a good chance. Okay. Not a lot of other news going on. Yesterday, United States loses in the Gold Cup to Mexico 2-1. Tough loss on 4th of July weekend.
The YouTube
for
people
the Americans.
saw me yawn right there. And it wasn't even a joke. It wasn't even a bit.
Okay.
I genuinely
I will
yawned.
move on then.
Thank you.
Tigers, no day off today. They're right back to it. 3-game series with the Rays. Back at home, though. 6:40 first pitch. Still, no update on the starter for the Tigers, but it sounds like Flaherty will get moved to tomorrow. And then today will be a bulk inning guy, likely Kiter Montero getting called back up from AAA.
Sure. I hope we see some more Chase Lee today, man. He's really come along. You remember when it was a bit that he was my favorite bullpen guy, and now he's
A bit? he just is your favorite guy.
Right, but now he's like good.
Right.
I hope we see more of him today. Let's give him a bulk innings today. Why not?
We could use that.
A little sidearm action?
Yeah, the sidearm's going to throw 50 pitches. Great idea. Last up on the news, Clayton Kershaw selected as the honorary All-Star for the National League. Haven't had one of these since 2022 when Miguel Cabrera, Albert Pujols were picked. No duo here for Kershaw. It's just him. Obviously recently got his 3,000th K. And I don't know if you knew, Ben, he actually used to play for the Loons.
For real? Wait,
for real.
Wait, for real?
That's not a joke.
Does this count as an All-Star appearance? Like,
yes. Like it does historically count, yes.
I know it does historically, but is this screwing some stuff up where it's like you look back and someone's pro reference page 20 years from now, it's like, wait, why was Kershaw an All-Star his last season? He sucked. He didn't stink. He doesn't suck. But like
Cabrera when he made it.
Yeah, like someone's going to look back at
it does, but then at the end of the day, you're like,
pro reference page.
When these guys are already double-digit time All-Stars, like what's one more? They already have it. How much does this affect his legacy? Not really any at all. Right?
He played another year in 23 and wasn't an All-Star. Did they think it was going to be his last year? Because that was Pujols
this isn't
last
Kershaw's
year, wasn't
confirmed
it?
last year.
Yeah, I guess you're right. He's kind of hinted at it, though. I don't think there's another pro reference page I enjoy looking at more than Miguel Cabrera's, if I'm being honest.
Search this guy named
Barry Bonds. Yeah, Barry Bonds. That is
pretty fun to look at that. A lot of bolded numbers on that page.
Well, I'm looking at Miguel's right now, 11 to 13. It's just bold, 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 bold.
Ooh, speaking of retiring, this actually is one more thing on the news. Chris Paul has announced that this will be his last season.
When did he do that?
On a podcast.
What team is he on?
He's not on a team. He might just hang it up right now.
Oh.
But who's he spending his final season with? He's been on a different team
Milwaukee.
Every year over the last 8 years.
It's going to be Milwaukee.
I could see that.
I would guess Milwaukee. Your guess.
Well, he's always says he still wants to play. So Milwaukee would be perfect. I've heard about a Clippers reunion. Don't really know if that's going to be a real thing.
Too many guys.
Yeah, Milwaukee. I think that's a good one.
Okay. All right, 989-837-6125. Our two traditions to close out each and every show when we come back. It is the Ben Bosscher Show, live on 100.9 The Mitt.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
It's time to remember that. With Kyle Sandell.
Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent located downtown Midland. Well, an interesting series over the weekend for the Tigers' low-scoring affair against probably their biggest rival to this point, the Cleveland Guardians. And nonetheless, it was a satisfying series for Detroit to get the better of Cleveland, who has really had their number, not only this season, but obviously last year in the playoffs, been one of the 2 teams on the year to win 3 straight games against Detroit. But man, you take a look at this division, it is crazy to think that the Tigers basically already have locked up the American League Central. Tigers 20-plus games over 500, have no one even close to them in second place in the division. This was a division that sent 3 teams to the playoffs a year ago. A month into the season, they had 4 teams above 500, and coming into the year, the odds for those 4 teams of the Tigers, Guardians, Twins, and Royals to win the division were all pretty tight. There was not a clear favorite. And the Tigers have just knocked that narrative completely out of the window. The series was satisfying just for Detroit to get Cleveland's number, but at the end of the day, it really didn't have the same juice on it as the last couple matchups with the Guardians have had, just because felt like so much more was on the line. Both teams fighting for the playoffs, fighting in the playoffs. But now the Tigers are just too good. It'd be virtually impossible for them to lose the American League Central at this point. Remember that. Presented by Matt Larson, Farm Bureau agent, located downtown Midland.
Tired of floors that snore? Walls that whisper, meh. Premier Tile in Midland is here to spice things up one tile at a time. They've got backsplash that'll make your pasta jealous.
What?
Shower walls that'll actually sing in the morning. And floors so fabulous, you'll consider eating dinner off them. Stylish, affordable, slightly obsessed with grout. Visit Premier Tile, located between Stark and Sturgeon, right off US 10. Or at PremierTileStone.com.
When the summer heat is on, keep your cool with Answer Heating and Cooling. Our expert team specializes in fast, reliable air conditioning repairs, installations, and maintenance. Stay comfortable all season long with top-notch cooling solutions and simply outstanding service. Plus, with financing options and special rebates, cooling your home has never been more affordable. Answer Heating and Cooling, where comfort is our priority. Try our new schedule online option or call us today.
It's a bird. It's a plane. It's Superman Night at Dow Diamond on Saturday, July 12th. The first 1,000 fans through the gates will receive an exclusive Super Lou E bobblehead courtesy of My Michigan Hell. Create a lasting memory after the game as you take in Fireworks Loontacular, presented by Farm Bureau Insurance. Don't miss this super night of fun. Get your tickets at loons.com. Local sports don't stop when the game ends, and neither do we. 100.9 The Mitt is your digital home for the latest news across the state of Michigan. From high school to college and the pros, it's all on our socials. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search 100.9 The Mitt and join the squad. Stay locked in on the latest stats and stories with exclusive video takes from local talent. Sports Radio 100.9 The Mitt.
Let's pick out a good wine. Let's discover a new taste from a new place. Let's meet the people who handpick the grapes in places dedicated to the craft, in a land that only knows one way to grow things, rich and full. Welcome to Michigan, where the 4 seasons and 4 Great Lakes smile on the winemaker, where the quality of the wine is exceeded only by the warmth of the greeting waiting for us. And with more than 90 wineries, covering more than 13,000 acres, the harvest has never been better. So let's wander through lush vineyards, discover hidden treasures in vast cellars, and renew ourselves in comfortable tasting rooms. Let's all raise a glass. Let's gather our closest friends and become even closer. Because taking time to toast the beauty and bounty of life is pure Michigan. Your trip begins at michigan.org.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on 100.9 The Mitt.
We got 2 traditions to close out every show here on the Ben Bosscher Show. Live on 100.9 The Mitt, live on YouTube as well. The first of those, after a weird week last week, is our Lock of the Day.
Lock of the Day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up. Lock it up.
All right, Kyle. Do you want to kind of recap what happened last week? Because it was probably our strangest week for Lock of the Week, maybe ever. Definitely ever.
Yeah, only 2 picks resulted in anything. Obviously, we only did the 4 shows last week, so 4 picks were made. But the one you had on Tuesday canceled, so that one was a push. I mean, not even a push. It just, nothing happened.
Game got delayed or postponed.
Right. And then your pick on Thursday, which obviously resulted on Friday, of Joey Chestnut hot dog line, is the oddest thing I think that has ever happened in sports gambling history.
It almost feels rigged.
Right. 70.5 hot dogs was his line that you got it at. And how many hot dogs did Joey Chestnut eat? 70.5. Look, I understand
don't like this. This is fishy.
How Vegas and all the books have these algorithms that perfectly place these lines on all the sporting events. I understand that it's all based off of computers and data. It makes sense. This, to me, makes 0 sense.
Fishy. Really fishy.
This makes 0 sense.
Doggy.
How do they have the algorithm and all this for hot dogs, dude?
I don't know. But
And
I
so
don't
we
think I'll ever be
decided-
betting on this again.
Right. And I don't know if, does it technically count as 70 because he didn't get through the whole one? Does it count as 71 because he started the 71st?
Push.
We decided it's a push because it was 70.5.
So I went 0-1-1 last week?
You went 0-2-1.
Oh, gross.
Because the 1 doesn't count, but 2 losses.
All right,
and then
tell
the 1
me how
tie.
many units I'm down all time. Tell me how many
But it's
units
the first
I'm
week
down
that you
on
got
the month.
0 picks right. Just want to make sure everyone understood that part.
All right, now tell me how bad I am at gambling.
You are 3.76 units down all time. Last week you go down 2 units, obviously. 8-14-1 all-time record.
There will be a bounce back. I just want everyone out there to know.
3 straight weeks of being down.
There will be a bounce back. That's how this works. There will be.
Start today.
We will be back in the win column all time at some point. And yeah, you're right. I think it starts today. So Shane Baz is on the mound today for Tampa Bay against the Tigers. Riley Green has played 1 game against him. He's a left-handed pitcher. 1 game against him. 1 home run, 1 hit. He went 2 for 2 with a walk. I will be taking Riley Green to do 2 bases today and have even more success against Baz. Or is it Baz? I don't know.
It's Baz. He is a righty, too.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
My bad. Yeah, Riley Green dominated him the first time that they played. So, yes, I'll be taking Riley Green to do 2 total bases. Pretty good value, too, at plus 115, correct?
Yeah, it is pretty good value. Yep, plus 115.
Thought about 2 hits. That was like plus 240, but I was like, let's just, if he gets a double, it's over. Or home run again. One of the hottest bats in baseball. So, I'll take Riley Green.
I'm fading this today.
What, aren't you like 0-5 fade and tail?
I'm 0-4-1 because last week's doesn't count.
Okay.
I'm fading it just because, like, he's coming off a game with a homer, maybe a little bit of a cool down. Also crazy that he was 0 for 15 coming into that game last night against the Guardians this year.
Yeah.
And then gets the homer. But I don't mind the pick, but I'm fading it.
All right. That is our lock of the day.
Lock of the day.
You better lock it up. No, you lock it up. You lock it up. Lock it up.
What Tigers game do you think gets canceled this week?
I don't know. Let me look at the rain forecast.
I'm looking at the weather outside here. It's like, it's kind of cloudy. I don't think it's supposed to rain, but...
there's been a delay in, 7 of the last 8 series, it
just
feels
unreal.
Like. There is rain in the forecast for today. They should be clear the rest of the week.
So more time for you to play college football then. With the game getting canceled.
That sounds great. That sounds awesome. Okay, so our other tradition to close off every single show is to predict the one, the only Colin Cowherd's Open, who takes over our airwaves at noon. This is a weird one because he was off, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday last week?
Yes.
So he's got a lot of stuff to talk about. But then again,
assuming he's back today. Maybe he's not.
In the sports world as a whole, not a ton happened this weekend.
No.
He never leads with baseball.
That's why our news was all jacked up.
He doesn't lead with baseball. He's not going to lead with that NBA trade. Whose turn is it to go first here? And what is the score? 7-6 me?
7-6 you. It is your turn to go first, as this is an odds day. 25th show today, by the way. But 7-6, I've closed the gap. It was 7-4.
I'm in dire need of a point here. We still seem far enough away from football. No, I don't know if we are.
That's kind of where
there's just not a lot
I'm trying to
going
lean
on.
football, maybe. Still have yet to have a Mahomes Open.
I might. I don't want to go Lakers again because they've done Lakers so many times. But when in doubt, there's a couple names to go to, and let me check something really quick. I think the Fever play. No, they don't. They don't play today. Shoot. This is tough. Do you have a lean if you had the first pick? You don't have to tell me what it is, but
no, I have something I'm going to go with, but I'm not nearly confident in it at all. Just something that I was kind of thinking about.
I hate this. I hate this so much. This is the toughest part of the year to predict.
It really
Colin's
is.
Open.
Ooh, I have mine.
Good. I'm so happy for you, Kyle.
I have a new one.
I'm just gonna go with, now that the Durant trade is official, something along the lines of the Suns are an inoperable organization. It's kind of random. I just don't know what other direction to go right now.
So I was going to lean Knicks because I don't think he got to do his Mike Brown is the coach thing.
Oh, that's good.
Is it good?
I
was going to do that.
I think it is. There's just not a lot of good options. I'm very curious to see where he goes with this today.
He never got to talk DeAndre Ayton, Lakers.
Did he not? Oh.
He didn't get to. They still led with it Thursday. That's how I got a point, but it wasn't his show.
Oh,
but I'm not doing that
Lakers.
either. I'm going to. We had Summer League start this weekend, and a certain somebody will be making his Summer League debut this week. I think he goes right back to the well. Cooper Flagg.
That's good, Kyle. That's good.
Cooper Flagg. He doesn't make his debut till later this week, though. If it was tonight, it'd be different. But I'm going to go Cooper Flagg.
Can I switch my answer to the Lakers? I kind of forgot.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because I gave it to you after you made it.
All right. I will take the Suns then, as I said in the first place. And I don't feel like I'm going to get a point. And I don't really feel like you're going to get a point, but who knows? All right. Appreciate everyone tuning in on this Monday here in the Great Lakes Bay region. Again, if you're watching on YouTube or did at all, or you haven't checked it out, please go do check it out. Just type in 100.9 The Mitt on YouTube and hit that subscribe button. It can go a long way. We're also now starting to post daily content on the YouTube from the show. Just if you'd rather not watch a full 3-hour live stream, we'll be posting maybe our best segment or two of the day on there as well. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You guys can follow us on there as well to check out some of our short form content exclusive to those pages. TikTok, I think I mentioned that as well. We'll be back tomorrow, hopefully talking about a Tigers win, and then Flaherty's on the mound tomorrow. Again, we don't exactly know who's on the mound today, but we think it is going to be Kiter Montero. With that being said, appreciate everyone for tuning in. I thought that was a great start to the week. 4 more days to come here on 100.9 The Mitt. That was the Ben Bosscher Show. Hope it was worth it, everyone. See you later.
The Ben Bosscher Show, powered by the Forward Corporation on